Dowd Campbell stared at pitch-black void, heart pounding. Just moments ago, everything normal. Now, chaos wrapped completely. Trying recall, he whispered, "Let's see." It all began after he accepted that invitation to dueling exhibition. He hadn't expected every major noble family attend. Their heated glares locked onto as tension-filled hall. Then she appeared, Rosalia in red, followed by Ilya, silent yet threatening, eyes sharp as steel blades. Even gentle Clarice arrived. Dowd Campbell suddenly realized he accidentally challenged all of them. She appeared again, a chilling presence from his past, reminding him of unfinished consequences. "Yes, that's right," she declared. Her words triggered memories he buried beneath layers of survival instincts. Back then, he logged into Savior Rising to escape, just another stress-relieving game world. But things went wrong. One strange choice, one glitch, and he couldn't leave the game anymore. Now, Dowd Campbell lived as the minor noble character, burdened by knowledge and haunted by fate. I woke up as Dowd Campbell, weak, powerless, and born into a forgotten rural family. This land, Campbellville County, survives on farming. It's irrelevant in the game's main storyline. But me entering the Imperial Academy? That minor event changes everything in Savior Rising's history. I shook Father's hand, ready to leave. "I'll be going now," I said firmly. "Don't cause trouble," he warned. But I knew Elfart wasn't made for people like me. "The best thing you can do," they said, "is avoid attracting attention. Survive quietly." But my stats were terrible, no skills, no strengths, not even a basic proficiency listed. Even for a newbie, these were shockingly low stats. My future looked grim already. I must complete the main quest, enter the academy without triggering any major villain routes. "Don't worry, Father," I promised. "I'll survive without getting involved with any dangerous characters. I'll stay quiet and unnoticed," I declared, confident that I'd draw zero attention at all. "I'll avoid drama, keep grades below average, and protect the Viscounty's boring, peaceful reputation. After all, the protagonist girl would solve everything major. I'd simply stay far away. Staying unnoticed is what a third-rate side character like me is supposed to do." With that plan in mind, I boarded the train. My academy life had officially begun, but right from the start, something was wrong. Why was I sweating so much? Why am I in the same carriage as her? This wasn't supposed to happen. That's Elnora Eleanor Tristan, cold eyes, commanding aura, and rumored to kill without hesitation. In the game, she's a vessel for evil. She eventually loses control and snaps. The gray demon inside her awakens, corrupting her body as her sanity completely vanishes. The gray demon fully awakens, turning her into the game's most dangerous final boss. Yet here she is, calmly sipping tea, asking if I'm feeling unwell with concern. I replied nervously, "No, I'm okay," trying not to trigger any unexpected flags or attention. She explained her presence here was planned, meant to present the Tristan family as approachable nobles. But something's off. She seems gentler. Not like the ruthless villain I knew before. The game described her as ruthless and cold, but now she's calm and attentive. "Why?" she asked gently. "Are you curious about something?" I hesitated, then complimented her kindness. She looked surprised. Unexpectedly, "Did you hear something bad?" I panicked and nearly blurted everything out. Trying to recover, I laughed awkwardly. "Well, I just heard you were a bit strict." She studied me. "You're a strange person." I smiled nervously. "Yeah, I get that a lot." I repeated to myself, "Don't get involved, just stay still and ignore everything." Trying to calm down, I stared outside. Nice view, I thought. Totally peaceful, right? Wait, what are those? Giant boulders. They're heading straight toward us. I froze in shock. I shouted, "Excuse me," hoping someone else saw this incoming disaster and could respond quickly. Before I could react further, the boulder exploded on impact. Our peaceful ride was over. A strange device activated mid-air. Its function, armor recognition and creation for adult skeletons, triggered instantly. Of course, Elnora always carries it. She used it without hesitation in this emergency. Everything's flashing too fast. I'm useless here. My stats are garbage. I can't survive this. Suddenly, someone caught me. "Are you okay?" they asked. I blinked, barely conscious from shock. Yes, I muttered weakly. "Can you move?" "You're heavy," they added. I groaned in response. I accidentally crashed into her. Her startled expression made everything even more awkward. "Ah, I'm sorry," I blurted, realizing how weird the situation must have looked to her. "It's fine," she said calmly. "You did it to help. No need to apologize." I panicked inside. I only grabbed her to share the armor's protection and survive. She looked at me curiously. "What's your name?" I froze. "Pardon?" "It feels like fate brought you to me," she said with an unreadable expression. I stammered nervously, Dode Campbell. Dode Campbell. She nodded slowly, repeating my name like memorizing it. A system message popped up. You have gained a villain's interest. I froze in place. Another message followed. You've triggered the skill Deadly Charm and raised Chaos Chance. What? Smoke rose outside the carriage. Had I really changed the story just by existing? Thanks to special escorts, we reached safely. One guy still whined over a light injury. Yes, I cheered internally. We finally arrived at Elfard Academy without further disasters. A system window appeared, gift of fated attraction activated. Evil interest gives rewards? Seriously? No wonder things got weird. This gift basically turns attention from villains into benefits. Back home, everyone had evil traits. I guess neutrality just doesn't exist in Campbell. The gift finally activated. Should I check what skills I received? I hesitated slightly. Desperate Survival, a skill that boosts my stats based on how dangerous things get. Deadly Charm makes people with evil traits more likely to notice me in extreme situations. Desperate Survival seems useful, but Deadly Charm? That could make everything way more dangerous. In this world, evil means real threats like that berserker who lives to destroy everything. A sword god completely unhinged slashes anyone who steps too close without warning or reason. An assassin accepts any job, no questions asked, and leaves no witnesses behind. A fire mage, brilliant but numb, treats destruction like breathing cold, precise, and constant. I panicked. These people are insane. Why am I attracting monsters like them? Still, if these skills help me survive, I guess I'll accept the risk for now. What bothered me most, both skills were labeled, even though I unlocked them already. Even the system isn't sure? That's not comforting. What else don't I understand? An official approached, asking if I needed medical help. No, really, I'm fine, I said. I looked back at the carriage. We made it, even with everything going wrong. As we gathered in front of the academy, I thought, this world feels very real. A staff member approached me quietly. Student, I heard you rode with Elnor Tristan? I nodded, unsure. He warned, that family has enemies. You may be seen as aligned. He continued, for your safety, avoid her. Being near her invites unnecessary risks. A system alert appeared. Danger, your involvement with Elnor has triggered the first villain route. She's already fated to become the final boss, and now I'm caught in her story. Just standing still might get me killed. Suddenly, someone shouted, Dode Campbell! Everyone stared. Why are you spacing out? One student asked, clearly enjoying the attention. Your opponent's been decided, someone whispered. I looked up, trying not to panic. Most got regular opponents, but of course mine had to be a total powerhouse. A confident girl stood before me. Hello? I gulped. This couldn't be good. Elia Crixanax, known as the world's top genius, smiled and offered me her hand. Dode Campbell froze, sweating. I'm okay. Wait, yes, she'll become the savior, but now I'm panicking. Elia Crixanax smiled brightly, extending her hand like a hero descending from the heavens. Dode Campbell hesitated, unsure if he should accept help from the game's legendary protagonist herself. She wasn't just any savior, she was the chosen one of Savior Rising's main storyline. As she pulled him up effortlessly, Dode Campbell stared wide-eyed at her terrifying heroic aura. Realization struck he'd just entered the central plot. Was he completely and irreversibly screwed now? Nobles gathered under the stained glass, their attention shifting as Count Creighton entered the hall. A sharp-eyed woman adjusted her glasses, noting powerful guests were arriving one after another. She scanned the room anxiously, wondering why Lady Tristan hadn't appeared yet. Suddenly, heavy boots echoed. A silver-haired woman strode in, flanked by ominously silent guards. Lady Tristan appeared, fierce and composed. I have questions. Don't move unless you're ready to answer. The silver-haired woman calmly entered, drawing attention with her confident stance and quiet presence. Elia sipped her drink, clearly irritated. She demanded answers before anything else could proceed. Under the moonlight, she questioned the urgency. Was someone dead or just lurking nearby? The girl explained assassins were after her, and she had to kill them first. Elia frowned. Either she's being hunted or someone's using her enemies to target Elia instead. She was told to get changed quickly. The entrance duels were already in progress. Elia mentioned Dode Campbell's name, which instantly caught the silver-haired girl's attention. Curious, Elia asked how she knew him. The girl recalled her brief impression. She remembered his quiet expression. He didn't stand out at all, seemed perfectly average. Yet now, her thoughts lingered. Something about that guy felt off. Unusual, even dangerous. Dode Campbell stepped forward, mocked by the crowd, unsure how long he could stay standing. Facing Elia, he realized her overwhelming power meant one hit could end everything instantly. But desperation kicked in, his unique skill activated, boosting stats based on incoming danger level. He recognized the moment as a gamble. If he failed, nothing would change anyway. Among the watching nobles were future villains. Surviving this might draw their crucial attention. Dowd Campbell analyzed the situation, trying to decide how best to act with limited stats. Aaliyah called out, approaching him with serious eyes, and her weapon lowered slightly. Dowd Campbell tensed up as she told him to answer honestly without dodging. She bluntly guessed he was extremely weak. Dowd Campbell froze, unsure how to respond. Aaliyah sighed. She had planned to use him as a sparring partner until that point. Dowd Campbell hesitated. He barely knew Tristan. Why was she so aggressive about the connection? Aaliyah admitted she despised not just Tristan, but the entire noble house behind her. Dowd Campbell was stunned. Speaking so openly against a powerful house showed serious personal history. She explained her past resentment, then suddenly said Dowd Campbell reminded her of that hated girl. Before he could respond, she threatened to hurt him just for irritating her. Dowd Campbell asked if they should fake the fight, wondering if real combat was necessary. Aaliyah refused. His weakness could get exposed soon, so a strong performance was crucial now. Dowd Campbell realized survival meant standing out. If no one noticed him, he was finished. Aaliyah claimed to like him, preparing to fight. Dowd Campbell was shocked by her words. Internally, he admitted lying too. He'd fight seriously, just like her hatred. His survival depended on it. A strange power triggered as her gaze shifted suddenly. Charm overwhelmed the rising tension. She smirked coldly, voice steady. Yeah? Then? Her dagger raised swiftly without hesitation. With no remorse, she lunged. Her body moved fast, blade slicing through the air. A quick dodge saved him. The wooden handle shattered against stone with a sharp crack. Eyes narrowed, she acknowledged him. So you aren't completely useless after all. She closed the distance quickly, her legs sweeping wide. Oh, then I'll go a little harder. He staggered back, eyes widening. System detected danger but classified it as not life-threatening yet. In response, the system activated desperate survival. A mysterious blue energy began surging through his body. With a fierce shout, he struck back. His fist landed directly against her incoming attack. Electric sparks danced across them both. She gasped, confused. A rank. He stared back, eyes glowing, focused. Power surged from his body. Blue lightning cracked violently, stunning everyone watching from a distance. The energy exploded outward. She was launched into the air, completely overwhelmed by the force. Lightning collided with the floor again and again, leaving behind destruction and a stunned silence. Everyone froze. Their eyes widened. None expected that kind of power from someone ranked so low. One student muttered nervously, "It's impossible." Another whispered, "That's not E rank." Even the instructor looked surprised. She collapsed, overwhelmed by his strike. The system confirmed the target was successfully subdued. The girl, this world's main character, had been taken down. That alone raised serious questions. Observers speculated, maybe Dowd Campbell's just a fraud with incredible timing. Someone muttered in disbelief. The instructor addressed everyone. He had no skills before this. Something is clearly abnormal here. One questioned, that power felt real. Another added, then what do you mean it wasn't? He declared firmly, no one in Elefante, including me, could have taken that hit. Even future top-ranked students couldn't match it, unless performance-enhancing tools or illegal magic were used. Maybe, one suggested, he triggered a hidden artifact that temporarily boosted his abilities during combat. Or, he continued, serious now, we're looking at an unmatched natural genius, absolutely monstrous in potential. She sipped calmly. Still hard to accept that outcome. Blue sponsor won't sit quietly now. He sighed. But ignoring a student with that much potential would hurt the academy. She responded calmly, if he's faking, we'll know soon enough. Let's just wait and see. He asked, what do you mean? She replied, some incoming students may require special treatment. She added, if he really is that remarkable, he'll definitely find his place naturally. News exploded across campus. Dowd Campbell, the unknown underdog, had defeated Margave Kendred's strongest heir. He read the news, stunned. That headline spread fast. Even here, inside this game, a notification popped up, character profile activated. It displayed Elnore's information and trust level status. Other profiles appeared too, Baron Arnault, Viscount Lapin, and Viscount Cravion, each showing rising curiosity or interest. He analyzed the system. Curiosity becomes interest, then trust. Points can be used for rewards, but he was confused. Why does Elnore, the final boss, have so much interest already? He received a new trait, Tristan's sword technique. That's from the Great Knight family. Incredible. Demon ties aside, this skill's too good to skip, he muttered, still shocked by luck. Another profile showed up, Elia Crixanax. Her curiosity was high, but no rewards were available. She's not a villain, he realized, but she still has interest in me. That's strange. He heard someone knock. Is this Dowd Campbell's room? He froze. That voice? It's familiar. She knocked firmly. It's Elia Crixanax. May I come in? His heart skipped nervously. He panicked. Why is she here? Maybe she'll leave if I just stay silent. Outside, she called gently, sir? Then sharply, I know you're in there. Don't ignore me. Her tone hardened. If you don't answer, I'll break this door, he shouted. Are you insane? She lowered her voice. Please open the door. I really have something important to say. He hesitated, flustered. What would that be? His thoughts scrambled as he tried staying composed. She smiled casually. Just things so we get to know each other better. He panicked hard. Elia Crixanax raised her hand confidently, declaring her next move with no hesitation or second thoughts. The hallway was silent. Her footsteps echoed as she scanned the area for him. With a sigh, she narrowed her eyes. He should have been here by now. Clenching her purse, she turned sharply. He should have gone with it. How uptight. From behind, a girl suddenly shouted, No, hey, let's be friends, okay? Hey! Elia Crixanax flinched and panicked. I don't know how to become friends with a man. Distracted, she stumbled and hit the floor. Her bag slipped away with a soft thud. A man helped her up, calm and composed. Oh, you should have watched where you're going. She looked up, stunned. He asked gently, Are you hurt? Her voice caught in shock. Eyes wide, she gasped, But brother? He turned serious. Run, Elia! Flames erupted behind him instantly. The blazing whirlwind roared ahead. Elia stood firm, sword drawn, shielding everything behind her. Tristan! She whispered, trembling. Her heart pounded as flames danced dangerously close to her feet. Fingers trembling, she reached for her sword. I'm all right, she told herself with shaky breath. Eyes sharp, she realized. I grabbed my sword on instinct. A new determination filled her. Watching silently, Tristan questioned himself. Could I defeat her at my current level? Doubt lingered briefly. Elia froze as Tristan extended his hand. Elmore Tristan, she muttered, unsure how to react. Her thoughts raced. She must have seen me as a threat. What do I do? Tristan stood tall, voice firm. Give that back. He wasn't asking, he was commanding. Elia hesitated, then offered the bag. Here, take it. How does she carry herself so calmly? There's a huge difference between us, Elia thought, even though we're only one rank apart. Wait, Elia said, stepping back. How do you know where his room is? I was with him all this time, Tristan answered coldly. For what purpose? Elia panicked. For friendship among the new students, nothing more than that. Tristan's eyes flashed. Forbidden. I just made a rule. You're no longer allowed in. Elia sighed. He's nothing to me, Tristan added sternly. Remember exactly what I just said. His glare sharpened. As serious as your hate for her, he muttered under breath. Elia stared downward. Maybe I've been too quick to judge him unfairly. Again, the class assessment exam at Elianthia Academy begins, analyzing each student's skills and potential. One-on-one duels decide group placement. I beat the warrior candidate. I'm in the top. Everyone looks proud except me. She's smiling at me. She's going to be a problem. I pushed her away yesterday, yet somehow she's in the same group as me. Her curiosity level increased again. Why is she more interested in me than before? Thinking back, someone left snacks and a note last night. Is someone secretly watching me? Group 1, your turn now. I tried to focus. It's just part of the test. My next opponent, Eleanor Tristan. She leads the exam. What? This can't be a coincidence. The dinner event was suspicious enough, but she's now leading the exam too? He watched her closely. I'll definitely die weird if nothing happens during this exam. At the boardroom, instructors reviewed the scenario. Keep observing. Let's see the outcome unfold. Eleanor raised her hand confidently. Let's move to the exam area first. I'll explain there. They entered a dark hall. Phew! This place is really cool, someone whispered. Low tier light, watch out. Hey, Elia asked. Inya said questions later, right? Then, is this part of it? Sinai, think I can answer, he said. Senti entrance is sealed. Powers completely out. Eleanor event in effect appeared on screen. He muttered. This is a trap, not a test. Character. Eleanor Tristan event triggers upon assigned attempt. Target identified. System tracking begins immediately. Pandel handle it. Let's move, someone said. Wait, now that I look, something's not right. And these guys are the main character's allies, he thought, and this is where they meet. If I remember correctly, these people play major roles later in the scenario's storyline. He looked around. Everyone here, they're all important to how this story unfolds. Is a map? Someone exclaimed. When the central hall might be our best option right now. Sanju felt it too, he said. We're not alone in this place. Something's lurking. And shall go here, he said calmly, pointing to a route away from the main hall. Elia looked confused. Why? That path leads away from the safe central point. I can't say it now, he thought, but this really matters. I'll explain later. He reassured himself silently. Yeah, it's important. I'm not lying. This needs to happen now. Nothing's more important than surviving, he thought, stepping into the corridor alone. I must act fast. Daoud exhaled in relief. Phew, that worked. No one followed me this time. Beating Elia probably gave me some credibility. Now I just have to stay hidden. The target's Eleanor anyway. If I stay out of sight, they'll ignore me. I'll find a quiet corner and wait this out. Just burn some time. A voice called, Hey, you there. A stranger smiled. Power issue. Can you guide me? My eyesight isn't great in the dark, he muttered, unaware danger was right behind him. Daoud stepped forward alone, shadows swirling beneath his feet, eyes locked on the corridor ahead. Ellie hesitated, sensing unease. Do you think Daoud will be okay by himself? She asked. Red silhouettes emerged above, weapons drawn. The group tensed as tension filled the dim hallway air. He must have a plan, Ellie whispered firmly, but we've got our own trouble coming. In a distant memory, Ellie once ran free through wildflowers, unaware of fate's darker turn. Two figures walked silently through the hall, their destination, the equipment room ahead, tension rising. The confident man grinned, recalling how even strong opponents like Ardvin fell with little resistance. He glanced forward, unaware his arrogance exposed a weakness the shadows behind him were tracking. We're nearly there, he muttered. But unknown to him, another presence watched closely in silence. With a twisted smile, he plotted to kill Daoud and use him against Tristan. Daoud sensed the magic spike behind him, but kept his calm and turned slowly around. A shadowy figure emerged, clapping mockingly. Well done, it's about time I rewarded you. Daoud sighed in relief. Oh, thank goodness. As expected, it's you, Hazmed. The enemy flinched in shock. Daoud's reaction meant he'd been recognized too easily, plans unraveling fast. Daoud approached confidently. Same walking style and attitude. You haven't changed one bit, Hazmed. Hazmed narrowed his eyes, confused by Daoud's calm. What the hell is he saying? Daoud muttered stats aloud, calculating calmly. Hazmed clenched his jaw, completely thrown off by the attitude. Hazmed lunged forward furiously, blade drawn. Still a weakling. I'll end him instantly, he screamed. Daoud silently blocked the strike, eyes sharp, as if expecting the desperate direct attack. With a single move, Daoud countered. Hazmed crashed into the wall, coughing blood, shocked and broken. Allies and enemies clashed across the battlefield. Magic burst wildly as chaos spread in every direction. Daoud struck down another enemy, bloodied but focused. No more distractions. I need to move. From afar, Ellie shouted, Finally, freeze those guys! Her spell circle glowed with growing intensity. She charged forward, magic spinning. Her steps echoed sharply as her focus narrowed on enemies. With a loud roar, she unleashed her ice magic, freezing the entire group mid-attack. A wounded enemy collapsed against the wall, groaning in pain, blood staining the cold ground. Daoud struck hard again, forcing answers. How many more are hiding in your ranks? Tristan stepped forward, furious. If you don't answer, I'll break your neck right here. The frozen body beside them twitched. Hazmed of the crescent moon, Daoud repeated, watching closely. Tristan demanded, Is he nearby? The prisoner hesitated, then muttered, I can't tell you that. Tristan slammed the prisoner to the ground. Blood spilled as he groaned, unable to resist. Her voice echoed coldly. Is that Hazmed currently present? The man trembled, sensing death near. Yes. He came with us, he cried out, his fear finally breaking through stubborn silence. Ellie muttered, They tried to kill me. What drives them to go this far? Tristan frowned. How do you talk so lightly, knowing you're surrounded by enemies right now? Ellie paused. Come to think of it, there's one person who'd do something reckless. Could it be that Daoud used himself as bait to lure out the strongest? They're assassins targeting you. Why would Daoud risk so much? Someone questioned, visibly confused. Tristan replied coldly. I said, We're nothing. As far as I know, at least. I am a professional assassin, she thought. This school's ancient nature explains their obsession with artifacts. Blood splattered across the floor. The blade struck deep, ending another assassin's desperate final attack. The enemy collapsed, eyes wide. But why? Would he go this far? His thoughts echoed. Dowd charged at the next attacker, blade flashing with a clean, precise motion midair. His strike landed perfectly. A system alert appeared, successfully performed technique assassination counter, E execution. Dowd exhaled slowly, lowering his sword. That should be the last one, he whispered calmly. The assassin fell, coughing blood. That tricky sword technique, I never should have fought him here. Dowd stood firm. A system alert appeared, deadly charm activated. Villain impressed by your strategy. The assassin nodded bitterly. So, you lured me here on purpose. Can't even use weapons. I don't intend to kill you, Dowd replied. Just deliver a warning to Tristan's enemies. Tristan thought coldly. If rumors grow, Yungre's seal might break. I must prevent that early. The assassin glared. What if I come back after this? His threat hung in silence. Dowd stepped forward. Then try me again, he challenged. You won't win next time either. Is Lady Tristan really that important? The assassin asked. Dowd replied, let's just say she is. A system alert chimed, deadly charm activated. Villainous's favorability has increased exponentially. Dowd froze as more alerts stacked up. Why is the system reacting like this? Tristan approached quietly, eyes fixed on Dowd. Neither spoke, but everything was now understood silently. Morning bells echoed through the academy as students hurried beneath towering spires and sunlit rooftops. Inside, frustration boiled, papers scattered, voices raised. The academy's order was slipping into total chaos. Meetings piled up, responsibilities grew heavier, and yet she still had no clear solution. The situation worsened. Internal sabotage, missed intelligence, and whispers of a spy reached her desk. Tristan narrowed her eyes, determined. This wasn't the first attack, and it wouldn't be the last. The investigator sensed a shift. This attack was deliberate, different, and clearly not the last. Though the defense team acted fast, one figure's absence from the honors list raised concern. Dowd Campbell stood out skilled, unnoticed, and without any formal mention in academy records. He operated quietly, avoiding attention, as if his entire role was meant to be hidden. Suspicion grew. Watching from afar, she questioned his motive. Was he hiding something dangerous or vital? Tired of hesitation, she warned her assistant to stop doubting and start acting with clarity. The assistant panicked, startled by the threat, unsure whether to retreat or push for answers. Calmly seated, she dismissed the outburst, shifting focus back to what truly mattered right now. Her tone changed, mentioning a hidden figure who remained distant, always outside the investigation's focus. Eyes wide, the assistant froze, unsure who she meant or what this secret lead implied. She hinted at the name again, confirming he'd been on her mind all along. The assistant paused. Surprised, was Dowd Campbell really the person she'd meant to investigate all along? Flustered, she deflected the idea, unsure why Dowd's name evoked such a strong reaction. Mentioning the Archduke's temper, she worried about rumors spreading and political consequences spiraling from this. She stood firm, annoyed. There were no feelings, only suspicions, strategy, and unspoken truths to uncover. They debated Dowd's background, suspicious origins, odd records, but she insisted on seeing for herself. Despite warnings, she remained firm. Watching him directly, she believed, would reveal the truth. Unaware of scrutiny, Dowd received notice he'd been reassigned under a vague project from the academy. Frustrated, he didn't want attention. He just wanted to be left alone in peace. Reading the details, he questioned everything. Why exclude him from advanced class? What were they hiding? Dowd completed the first quest. Suddenly, a new objective appeared with a major assignment. The ceremony wasn't just formal, it would determine everyone's class and long-term combat path. Dowd decided on a strength-based class. He'd match Ilya's path to blend in. Yet, unease settled in. He knew trouble would strike before the ceremony even began. Profiles flashed Zeke and Ilya. Each had roles, but their involvement hinted something deeper, approaching fast. Dowd realized everything: bosses, quests, and danger was converging right at the upcoming ceremony's peak. Suddenly, a warning appeared. He qualified for something meant only for powerful endgame characters. Another student panicked. He saw forbidden skills abilities copied directly from the final boss's arsenal. Dowd imagined chaos. If exposed early, the academy wouldn't handle the truth or consequences well. She could evolve endlessly. Dowd needed a perfect plan before that unstable power spiraled completely. Under the moonlight, Dowd moved quickly. He knew one hidden location critical to his survival. Through the grass and trees, he reached the long-abandoned warehouse deep in academy territory. This place held the point shop loaded with hidden items meant for agility and stealth. With new gear equipped, he prepared to move silently, unseen, and faster than ever. After slipping past all barriers, he entered Tirkin's secret resource zone, an untouched, forgotten treasure field. With a steady leap, Daud entered the zone, determined not to waste a second. He stumbled briefly, pressure mounting, but stayed focused. Each step mattered more the deeper he went. Using a vitality biscuit, he restored his stamina quickly. This place drained energy fast. Breathing steady again, he scanned the dark corners, hunting for anything useful or hidden. He'd gathered gear, but the one item he truly needed hadn't appeared just yet. Daud discovered it, the Urn of Divinity, holding sealed power older than the Academy itself. He smiled, relieved. With this final item secured, the entire mission was officially complete, but just as he relaxed, the ground beneath him began to tremble faintly. The stone mound nearby shook violently. Daud's confidence cracked as instincts screamed danger. Eyes widened in shock, he realized something ancient was waking, and it wasn't happy. The collapse came fast. Daud fell, knowing luck had run out just moments ago. A sudden gust cleared the dust, and through it, a familiar figure calmly stepped forward. Shocked, Daud recognized her immediately. Yuria Greyhoundsher? Why was she here of all places? Yuria Greyhoundsher, known boss of Chapter 2, smiled casually. This zone was her personal domain. Realizing the relic was hers, Daud panicked. She'd never forgive someone stealing her treasure. Daud jumped back instinctively. His system flashed red. This was now a serious survival scenario. Warning, danger is fatal. The system activated a desperate defense mode without his full control. Daud yanked the chain. Yuria Greyhoundsher flew downward as terrain violently crumbled beneath her feet. They plummeted together. His eyes widened as the ground surged up in chaotic destruction. Yuria Greyhoundsher and Daud Campbell only meant to spar, but our clash sparked something far more dangerous. Yuria struck fiercely, her blade dancing with intent. I barely parried, stumbling from the raw force. The mask hid my pain, but I gritted my teeth. This wasn't training anymore. Daud launched my counter, blade slicing air, but her eyes, they no longer saw me. This was no duel, it was survival. One mistake, and I wouldn't live to regret. She awakened with terrifying power. I knew right then. This wasn't a normal confrontation anymore. Even with X-rank strength, Daud struggled. Every blow made my bones scream and vision blur. Daud begged her to stop, shouted her name, but her chain flew straight toward my chest. From the shadows, another figure watched, eyes glowing, as if waiting for one fatal mistake. She dashed forward, relentless, her strikes smashing the ground we barely dodged, pressure mounting by the second. Daud finally remembered the counter technique. If timed right, I could end this cleanly now. Her blade surged with energy, and I braced myself, knowing I couldn't block head-on. Our weapons clashed, mine barely held, energy ripping the air apart with every strike exchanged. Daud wasn't trying to win anymore. I only wanted her to recognize me again. She stopped mid-swing, staring. "Why'd you hold back?" I stepped closer. "Because you're still in there," she answered softly, cornered like me. Escape was impossible, but surrender wasn't an option either. Her stomach growled unexpectedly. Daud paused, surprised. She looked equally confused by the noise. Daud realized then, this place was isolated, no one would interrupt. I had one chance. Want a biscuit? Daud offered calmly, hoping a little kindness might break the tension. She glared, trying to bribe me, but her eyes flicked toward the food despite herself. She munched quietly beside me. For now we had an unspoken truce thanks to snacks. The silence deepened. I realized then hunger really does block reason more than anger ever could. As tension faded, she asked who I was. I hesitated, unsure how to answer. I was sent to help, Daud replied, avoiding the real reason. Stealing wasn't exactly heroic. She blinked, curious. Someone you know? I nodded slowly. The lie sat heavy in my chest. If I leave now, things may spiral, but staying too long changes the game completely. She stood under the falling petals, peaceful. I reminded her, your sister's fine, don't worry. I'll return soon, I added, hoping my absence wouldn't raise suspicion or bring danger. Yuria's blade is feared. Her presence here isn't random. It ties back to the Emperor. Maybe telling her the truth about her sister is okay. She deserves one piece of family left. She sat under the tree alone. Whatever she's facing, it's clearly weighing her down. In the distance, the academy building stood tall, a reminder of what she's stuck inside. A student pointed out the grounds, guiding others. You can see it all from here. The instructor explained, orientation ends soon. Combat majors begin real training in 2 days. She smirked, confident. Don't even think of quitting now. We're just getting started, understood? This tutorial explains the world's balance, but I must act without wasting earlier progress. Students asked nonstop questions, some helpful, others distracting. But one topic kept returning: the void zone, the forbidden zone, sealed and deadly. Anyone entering without permission faces punishment, maybe worse. The void zone sits between realms. It connects divine judgment and infernal corruption. Long ago, God's messenger and blessed warriors sealed demons inside this place holds that ancient power. For centuries, this sword has sealed evil beneath it, guarding balance between life and death. To monitor the seal, 3 powers formed the golden triangle across distant regions. The academies, including Elefante, exist under this alliance to train future protectors and observers. A student raised his hand. "Can we go look?" The instructor smiled but hesitated briefly. While others planned lunch, I decided quietly I'd sneak off and investigate something important alone. Angels reshaped continents before. A seraph built this divine barrier. It's impossibly strong and perfectly stable. With that protection, lunch was announced. The students relaxed, trusting the divine shield completely. One student smiled. "We're safe because of that barrier. Pretty amazing when you think about it." Daud stepped forward, asking politely to eat further away. I needed a little space alone. She warned me not to go far. I nodded, already planning my quiet detour. She scoffed at my request, clearly unimpressed. The others laughed but stayed cautious. Smoke rose from a strange object. It wasn't just incense, but something far more controlled. The device was called the Ultima of Divinity, used only in sacred rituals. A student nearby asked, "Isn't that banned?" I stayed quiet, eyes fixed on the swirling light. This artifact connects realms. Daud didn't come here to rest. I came to contact something beyond. Blinding light surged from the artifact, revealing truths that ordinary people were never meant to witness. A blinding explosion erupts behind him as he calmly walks forward, undisturbed by the chaos. Rumors spread. Some say the explosion was divine punishment. Others blame a mysterious noble outsider. Daud Campbell brushes the dust off, annoyed. "They think I caused it?" "Ridiculous," he mutters. 2 angels descend, confused and cautious. "Isn't that the human who broke the demon's seal?" Wings unfolded, aura radiant, he stands silently. Heaven and hell now watch him, speechless and afraid. The mysterious man stood silently, watching. The workers whispered nervously but continued their assigned task. One worker froze, panicked by the sudden shout. His shovel stopped mid-motion without realizing why. Suddenly, a golden glow burst from the ground. Something unexpected and dangerous was being unearthed. A large metallic robot emerged, shaking the earth. It activated immediately with rapid mechanical fire. Angels rushed over as reinforcements. "The heavy units arrived, get ready," one shouted, gripping his blade. The heavy unit slammed the ground. One angel fell hard, screaming in pain and surprise. A noble-looking angel stepped forward. "Everyone retreat, you're not ready to fight this enemy." More angels ran toward the wall, some panicking. One shouted, "First class is here, we're saved!" A brick shattered mid-use. The observing man quietly noted weaknesses while others scrambled in confusion. Daud watched calmly. Their formations flawed. If this continues, even trained angels will fall quickly. The game world followed specific rules. He knew them better than the angels around him. High-ranking angels couldn't interact freely until later chapters. He planned ahead, exploiting that early restriction. "I know what they're after," he whispered, already preparing the one thing they desired. He set down full lunchboxes and began eating. "Thanks for the food," he said loudly. The angel stared from afar. He's watching again, but wow, that food looks really good. The angels hesitated, hungry and exhausted. "Can't we ask for just a little food?" He stepped forward, smiled, and said, "Mr. Angels, please wait one moment, it's almost ready." With glowing light, food offerings materialized. The system confirmed, offering transmission complete. He stayed calm. The angels grabbed the meals in awe. "This guy really knows divine cooking," one muttered. He smirked. "One portion here is worth 10 outside. They'll worship me before long." A satisfied angel stretched after eating. "Ha, I ate well. That was surprisingly delicious." He grinned. "You came here to bless something, right? Go ahead, take your pick." The angel instantly complied. No haggling, no negotiation. The pot shimmered with divine approval and blessings. The man looked puzzled. Was it really this easy in the original game script? He stared down the angel. "You're wondering why I, a nobody, get treated this well." He realized the angels had been observing him closely, noting every small action he made. One stepped forward. "Your results exceed expectations. Tell us, what exactly are you planning here?" Another angel appeared, radiant and commanding. "You've created imbalance by dealing with dangerous forces. Explain yourself." A graceful figure landed beside him. I see a great man influencing the heavens' order. The angel knelt respectfully. Please guide us. The man simply nodded, calm and composed as ever. He overheard the angel's praise. Great man? Me? He wondered, still unsure of their meaning. An angel smiled. Believe in yourself. Fate favors those with resolve. I acknowledge your efforts. He exhaled slowly. I'm working hard because I want to live, not become some hero. Still, the angel's warning stuck. He decided to reflect on every move a bit more. Suddenly, new blessings appeared: altruism of divinity, asceticism, and protected shield. Rewards for surviving wisely. The angel's blessings were useful especially for survival. He couldn't afford to waste any advantage. His constitution stat boosted health. Combined with desperation, it made his survival odds much stronger. In this world, anything trainable could evolve. Even weak traits could eventually become powerful abilities. Unfortunately, he lacked mana traits. Using even a small amount was currently impossible for him. Without magic, he needed alternatives. So, he came to this place, ready for action. He stayed quiet during instructions, but every word was noted. He missed nothing important. Approached by another trainee, he confirmed, "Yes, I heard. We're forming teams of 2. The trainee asked, "Where's your partner?" He replied confidently, "She'll be here any moment now." The guy chuckled, doubting. "Who'd team with someone like you?" He didn't answer, just smiled. Suddenly, a talking bear appeared. "I'm not joking. This place will get crowded soon." He checked the time. My partner should appear soon, according to the story progression. Just then, a cheerful voice greeted him. She appeared exactly on cue, smiling confidently. She admitted, "I originally didn't want to work with the protagonist's replacement, but changed." He smiled back. "Want to try getting to know each other better, partner?" She paused, thinking it over carefully. The moment felt strange, yet oddly promising for both. He spoke firmly. "I quite like her," surprising everyone with his sudden, honest confession. Chaos followed. "You crazy idiot!" One shouted while others panicked about the academy's strict rules. A teacher warned, "Freshman dating is forbidden." He remained silent, standing his ground without hesitation. When questioned about their relationship, he calmly answered, "Nothing," trying to avoid further conflict. But her heart sank. "You said we're nothing." Her voice trembled behind a brave face. Dowd Campbell smiled confidently and reached out. "Let's work together," he said without any hesitation. Elia froze, thinking, is this some tactic to make me jealous? He's actually serious? At the Academy's mock dungeon, Dowd Campbell prepared for today's unusual challenge with calm resolve. Dark energy whispered around him, voices doubtful. "Master, are you sure about this plan?" Elia reminded Dowd Campbell of their rocky beginning, questioning his sudden willingness to trust her. Dowd Campbell raised 3 fingers confidently. 3 enemies. I'll handle them at exactly 9 o'clock. A monstrous beast burst forth from shadows, its roar shaking walls. Dowd Campbell stood unfazed. The beast lunged forward, jaws wide open. Elia raised her sword without hesitation to strike. 2 more incoming from above! Someone yelled, forcing Elia to pivot her stance defensively. Bat-like monsters descended fast. Dowd Campbell quickly analyzed their movement, scanning for a weak point. "Neck! Aim for their necks, not limbs!" Dowd Campbell shouted, keeping calm while issuing commands. Elia slashed, annoyed. "Mr. Dowd Campbell, stop shouting orders, fight properly, or I'll handle this alone." Dowd Campbell analyzed the trap. 2 daggers incoming. "You've got 10 seconds, dodge or block them!" Elia darted forward, blades whizzing past her. She deflected them just in time, barely unscathed. "Poison trap next, right side!" Dowd Campbell warned. Elia spotted the tube and smashed it instantly. 3 arrows now! Dowd Campbell yelled again. Elia held her position, bracing for the count. An enemy ambushed from behind. Elia couldn't react in time and took a heavy hit. Frustrated, Elia snapped. "If you know everything, then fight better than me," she added. "We'd clear this faster if you actually worked with me, not bossed me." Dowd Campbell raised a hand. "I want to help, but I'm a weak F-rank character." These aren't real enemies, he thought. No threat, so desperate survival won't activate at all. "I must increase my stats soon," Dowd Campbell muttered. Elia charged, yelling, "Master Dowd!" Dowd Campbell chuckled to himself, wiping sweat. Was I being too harsh on her today? Elia's blade spun with power, slicing through the enemy cleanly in one perfect strike. She landed, stunned by her own speed and strength. Realizing how far she'd come, Dowd Campbell watched silently, surprised by her flawless movement and sharp instincts in real combat. A voice echoed, "What incredible speed! You've broken the previous record!" Elia sprinted ahead triumphantly. Elia blinked in shock. "What's going on? I fought alone, but got a record?" Dowd Campbell scratched his head. This stage needs two. Still, we both got lucky, I guess. Elia sighed, flames of frustration flaring. Next stage is harder. Let's finish quickly and move. A cloaked figure watched through the magic screen. They're moving faster than expected. The instructor smirked. They pushed limits and broke records. What do you think, Conrad? I guess so. Was it because of the experiment? A student asked nervously. A senior replied, more importantly, someone's doing well solo. Look, he's not just lucky. Not her. Him, the senior clarified. Dowd Campbell is the one worth watching closely. You're overhyping a background student, the woman scoffed. The girl fought. He just followed. But he is the key, the senior stated. Anyone can see he changes how she fights. Dowd Campbell's calm planning, his perfect movements, they weren't luck. He was reading every threat ahead, every action's deliberate, the observer thought, like he's repeated this path 1,000 times before. The instructor grinned. Let's place a bet, Perron. This might get interesting. Back inside, an alert rang. Mid-test begins now. Dowd Campbell and Elia readied themselves once again. Perron smiled. If the boy survives, I'll prepare his private evaluation myself. If you succeed, I'll grant one request from Perron, the instructor proposed seriously. Perron blinked. Why would he offer something that generous? Or what's he really thinking? You're not forced, the man said calmly. The task's nearly impossible after all. Dowd Campbell smiled confidently. That's fine. Obviously, we can handle that much. Elia was stunned. The test began. Jeez. What's going on here? Someone whispered, watching events escalate quickly. The instructor sighed. I understand the chaos, but please follow proper care and rules. Elnora exhaled. There's something I wanted to remember, she whispered, retrieving a small sealed case. Falling through the training chamber, she recalled the burden her bloodline carried from birth. In Delphin lives a rare duality, she reflected. One side brings unmatched power and rage, the other side, madness, she muttered, gripping the container tightly. I'm not serious, right? It's nothing to worry about. I'm not thinking too hard on it, Tristan muttered calmly. Is that so? Because I saw you holding that tightly, her friend responded, suspicious. It's about the report, right? She asked. Tristan hesitated before finally giving in. The instructor revealed, I heard from a junior Dowd Campbell teamed up with a warrior candidate. Elia Gracken, the one who fought Dowd Campbell? Tristan asked. They paired up for training? Tristan looked down and whispered, I see, as realization slowly settled in her thoughts. She exhaled deeply, steadying herself before saying firmly, Take me there. I need to see. A bottle hit the ground. But you said you didn't care about any of it. Dowd Campbell drew his sword calmly, ignoring the tension rising in the room around them. Elia Krishnax questioned his decision, doubtful he could break the Academy's most difficult combat record. He nodded, determined. Her warning didn't faze him, his goal was already set in stone. He knew a secret advantage about the enemy's patterns, but he couldn't explain it to her. She glared, confused and frustrated, unable to understand why he'd risk everything just for this. Conrad confirmed readiness. The test was starting, tension building among the instructors behind the scenes. One instructor hesitated, worried the chosen difficulty would overwhelm even the most confident freshman participant. Despite concerns, Conrad agreed if the student insisted, they'd raise the difficulty to the max. The girl gritted her teeth, unsure if this bold plan would prove success or disaster. He stepped forward, smiling calmly. There was no turning back, his choice had already been made. She scolded Conrad over tea. Upset, he pushed the students into the harshest trial. The students dropped into the arena below. There was no escape, only forward through danger. Conrad admitted the risk was real, but still trusted their strength to overcome it. Monsters roared from every side, charging viciously. The students stood surrounded in a deadly ring. An instructor announced the battle had begun. Eyes sharp, he shouted, Prove yourselves, freshmen, she shouted, sword drawn, leading the charge against the monsters without hesitation or fear. Spectators panicked, believing the students were overwhelmed and their chances of survival had collapsed. He dashed forward, scanning the battlefield, his senses alert, mind focused on critical danger signs. Monsters closed in fast, claws and teeth ready to strike without mercy or hesitation. System confirmed, threat level was fatal. He tightened grip, ready to fight without holding back. His eyes locked on the charging beast, no fear, only precise timing and calculation. He slashed cleanly, dodging at the perfect angle, striking the monster's weak point effortlessly. The instructor burst with excitement, thrilled by the flawless move he'd waited so long to see. She joined the fight too, her blade dancing, voice calling out to him with pride. He moved again, narrowly avoiding claws. The moment was critical, his next move had to count. He struck down another beast, focused and sharp, his sword moving with practiced precision and strength. His movements were clean, calculated just enough power to eliminate each threat without wasting effort. The instructors watched in awe. Even the strictest ones couldn't hide their shock anymore. His teammates sliced through waves of monsters, pushing toward the enormous red creature guarding the exit. With fierce momentum, she drove forward, her final blow lighting the arena with blinding force. Elnori strikes the towering enemy, creating an opening with a powerful explosion shaking the battlefield. "Now, Dowd Campbell," she shouts, eyes sharp. He responds instantly, surging forward with determination. Dowd Campbell gathers strength mid-air, his weapon glowing. The enemy braces as tension swells. His attack lands in a burst of light, overwhelming the foe with a precise strike. As the dust clears, Dowd Campbell pants heavily, shocked by the strength drawn from their connection. The enemy rages with overwhelming power, shouting that Dowd Campbell is close to breaking the record. Dowd Campbell hears the words, confused. He looks up just as the enemy targets him. A blinding explosion erupts before he can react, light and force swallowing everything around him. Dowd Campbell crashes hard onto the ground, sword slipping as the impact leaves him breathless. He mutters calmly this wasn't luck. His actions followed calculated steps built from game knowledge. She smiles and praises Dowd Campbell, recognizing his efforts and calling him a master candidate. Nearby, a student gloats about winning a match, while another envies the recognition Dowd Campbell received. Dowd Campbell reads a formal letter permission to request any favor from the Dean of Spellcraft. Surprised, she exclaims it's amazing. Dowd Campbell calmly explains freshmen rarely receive such a privilege. His friend questions his calm nature. Dowd Campbell looks back, unsure how to explain his composure. She wonders if Dowd Campbell predicted everything, or just naturally reacts with perfect timing and control. Dowd Campbell turns, slightly confused, when she suddenly calls out and raises her hand toward him. Smiling, she explains it's just a friendly fist bump, something guys normally do with friends. Dowd Campbell hesitates, eyes narrowing. He quietly mutters in disbelief at how serious she's being. He bumps fists with her. A message confirms her trust in him is almost complete. Ilya Krishnanax looks thoughtful, pausing for a moment, eyes fixed on Dowd Campbell before turning away. With a light step, she waves back and says goodbye cheerfully, running off confidently. Dowd Campbell stands puzzled, wondering if she's genuinely friendly or simply acting strangely around him again. His thoughts are interrupted as he spots the student council president suddenly standing before him. Tristan stared down at him calmly, demanding to know his true intentions without hesitation. Dowd Campbell smiled awkwardly, unsure how to respond, her presence overwhelming despite the clear blue sky. Her eyes narrowed, she didn't believe his excuse. The aura around her grew colder fast. A different man watched nearby, amused. He knew she wouldn't stop until answers were squeezed out. Later that day, she sat silently in her room, questioning her reaction to his gaze. Even though he trained hard with Ella, his thoughts kept returning to one person. Dowd suddenly confessed his feelings, catching her off guard in the middle of her duty. The other man scoffed at his timing, certain this approach wouldn't win her affection. Ilya smiled slightly, acknowledging the truth in his words while hiding her real emotions carefully. Dowd stood confused, questioning himself, why did he say that now, and why did it matter? Ilya brushed it off, claiming their connection was just coincidence from the train incident. Still, she handed him a sealed envelope, saying it was important for him alone. He stared at the envelope, confused and unsure what her real intentions could be. She leaned in closer, serious now, insisting he open it privately when no one watched. Without waiting for a reply, she turned and walked away, leaving him speechless and tense. He accepted the envelope, still unsure but ready to face whatever message she left. Later alone, he opened it slowly and immediately regretted his decision upon reading it. She asked him to be her partner at the weapon fair. He felt conflicted. The letter warned of penalties if refused, hinting rejection might cause political consequences. He exhaled heavily, realizing her request wasn't just personal. It was a calculated, strategic decision. She stopped him in the hallway and handed him a letter with a smile. He hesitated, unsure what this second letter was or why she looked so confident. She explained it was her own version of a request for the upcoming event. She winked playfully, urging him to read it before the next big battle began. Before he could reply, she dashed off with energy, leaving him surprised and speechless. He collapsed in frustration, overwhelmed by the strange people and their relentless partner requests. Opening the new letter carefully, he hoped it contained something different from the first. His eyes widened in disbelief. This letter also contained a partner request, not a surprise. Now both girls had issued challenges. Choosing between them felt like facing twin final bosses. He exploded in despair, wishing they'd just made the decision easier with one simple request. If he chose one, the other could become an enemy in the main story. Accepting both might ruin everything unless the game's logic allows for dual partnerships. The pressure mounted, and he admitted silently he didn't know what choice to make. He sat still, breathing deeply, realizing no strategy could solve this emotional problem easily. But then, maybe choosing both wasn't wrong if he handled everything with complete honesty. A student from Class A approached, trying to start conversation during the formal gathering. The venue was packed with people from every corner, adding pressure to everyone's roles. She glanced around, frustrated by the chaos. Clearly, the event wasn't going as planned. Still, she smiled and thanked him sincerely for agreeing to come with her today. Before he could answer, another student called his name sharply, signaling something serious was coming. They walked forward together, unaware that someone important was watching them closely from above. Inside the operations room, a student monitored everything, analyzing their movements and behavior carefully. He compared data, noting their stats were unusually high, something wasn't matching previous records. Suspicion grew. He decided to investigate further to confirm they weren't manipulating their positions. Suddenly, alarms blared his identity, and activities had been exposed to the system in real time. A monstrous beast roared violently, restrained but clearly enraged, its presence causing chaos instantly. Guards shouted, forcing the crowd back as the monster's cart wobbled under pressure and noise. He recognized the setup. This creature's escape would trigger the real start of today's event. A sudden notification appeared. An item called pheromone was applied to him without his input. Dowd panicked as strange pink energy surrounded him, confused by the new, awkward effect. Dowd found them quickly, still flustered from earlier, but tried to act normal around them. Tristan paused, sniffing the air, suspicious. Something smelled different and unusually pleasant to her senses. Her expression changed suddenly. That scent was overwhelming, unfamiliar, and somehow impossible to ignore. Dowd confidently steps forward, radiating authority, while Dowd watches warily, unsure of the situation. Dowd contemplates his options, trying to keep himself composed as he assesses Dowd's demeanor. Dowd smirks playfully, enjoying the moment, while Dowd feels his confidence slowly crumbling. A sudden realization strikes Dowd, causing his expression to shift into pure panic and disbelief. He urgently protests, but the situation spirals beyond his control as Dowd proceeds forward. Dowd calculates his next move, hoping to avoid any unnecessary entanglements with Dowd's presence. He reassures himself, believing that keeping a safe distance would prevent further misunderstandings. Dowd takes a deep breath, her expression softening slightly as she relaxes in the moment. Dowd remains cautious but finds himself unexpectedly drawn into her unexpected suggestion. They stop at a food stall, the warm aroma filling the air as Dowd makes a choice. Dowd hesitates, but realizes refusing might only make the situation more complicated than necessary. Dowd glances at him, her curiosity piqued as she observes his reaction closely. The atmosphere shifts as they continue walking, both seemingly lost in their respective thoughts. Dowd, feeling conflicted, decides to act, trying to create distance in the subtlest way possible. He picks the least suitable gift, only to realize it's exactly what Dowd wanted. Dowd sits at the table, quietly contemplating his next steps while sipping his drink. He reveals his academic plans, determined to carve his own path despite others' expectations. Dowd listens carefully, her expression serious as she considers the potential consequences. She offers her perspective, emphasizing the value of talent and the opportunities ahead. Dowd remains firm, knowing his decision stems from a deeper reason than mere ambition. Dowd leans forward, intrigued by Dowd's strong resolve and hidden motivations. Dowd speaks calmly, his goal clear. He seeks power to protect what truly matters. The conversation takes a serious turn as Dowd recognizes the weight of his words. A shadow looms over Dowd's thoughts, memories of a crucial event resurfacing. Dowd's curiosity grows, sensing a connection between their fates that she hadn't realized before. Dowd's gaze sharpens, her intuition warning her of deeper secrets at play. She questions Dowd's proximity, unable to ignore his persistent involvement in her affairs. Dowd hesitates, his emotions conflicting as he tries to find the right words. The tension lingers between them, the weight of unspoken truth settling in. Dowd finally speaks, his expression sincere. His reason for everything has always been Dowd. Dowd gazes at Dowd, questioning his true intentions behind his unwavering determination. Dowd remains firm, knowing his survival is intertwined with protecting Dowd at all costs. Dowd sighs, realizing she expected this response but still finds it hard to accept. Dowd reassures himself, hoping his honesty will be enough to satisfy Daoud's curiosity. As night falls, Daoud reflects on Daoud's words, still uncertain about his peculiar nature. The underground cages rattle as eerie figures lurk in the dimly lit corridors. Hugo and Sophia walk side by side, their conversation light despite the unsettling surroundings. Sophia observes Hugo carefully, trying to understand his elusive nature and guarded demeanor. She contemplates how little she knows about dealing with people like Hugo. Her thoughts are interrupted as she realizes the creatures before them are still alive. The hallway echoes with distant growls, sending a chill down Sophia's spine. She glances around, taking note of the grim reality of the laboratory. Something moves in the shadows, a larger presence catching Sophia's attention. She leans closer, eyes widening as she notices the creature's untamed state. A sudden noise startles her, and she realizes the cages are not locked. A sudden explosion sends debris flying as the battlefield turns chaotic in an instant. Daoud and Daoud exchange glances, both instinctively preparing for whatever comes next. The commotion spreads, people scrambling to safety as panic fills the grand hall. Sophia rushes forward, her heart pounding at the sight of Pod collapsing before her. Pod, injured but determined, steadies himself and reminds Sophia of his unwavering duty. Sophia clenches her fists, feeling a strange unease as the air grows heavy with tension. The shadows shift, revealing monstrous creatures lurking in the dimly lit corridors. Sophia's breath hitches as she spots Pod, standing eerily silent amidst the chaos. The beasts snarl, their glowing eyes fixed on their next target with terrifying hunger. A wooden staff clatters to the ground, signaling the start of an inevitable confrontation. Sophia steadies herself, gratitude flickering in her eyes as she acknowledges the protection she received. With unwavering resolve, Sophia grips her weapon, ready to stand her ground against the looming threat. A sudden mission appeared, urging Daoud to act before disaster struck the academy. Elnore watched as Daoud rushed forward, determination evident in his every movement. Surprised, Elnore hesitated, sensing an unusual urgency in Daoud's actions. Daoud pleaded for cooperation, knowing that protecting the students took priority over everything else. As tension rose, Daoud realized the situation was escalating beyond his initial expectations. Bloodied yet relieved, Elia thanked Daoud, grateful for his timely intervention. The notification confirmed Elia's growing trust in Daoud, shifting the course of events. Daoud realized a mistake: one monster had escaped, heading toward the lower floors. The massive beast roared below, forcing Daoud to make a quick decision. Elia, barely standing, clutched her injured side, exhaustion threatening to overtake her. The remaining knights struggled, maintaining the barrier as monsters relentlessly attacked the academy walls. An enormous energy surge shattered part of the shield, alarming the exhausted defenders. A mysterious pendant fell, glowing faintly as Daoud recognized its hidden significance. Elnore confronted the situation, questioning whether divine intervention was necessary to resolve the crisis. With no time to waste, Daoud stepped forward, preparing to take responsibility. The knights hesitated, awaiting reinforcements. While Daoud refused to stand idly, Elnore recalled the warnings about handling monsters, frustration clear in her expression. Daoud charged forward, determined to resolve the escalating crisis himself. A shadowy figure snatched something crucial, drawing attention from the crowd. The atmosphere grew tense as an unknown force disrupted their battle plans. Daoud sprinted, adrenaline pumping, as the notification signaled unexpected changes. His instincts screamed danger when a golden glow suddenly surrounded him. A high-stakes system prompt confirmed the situation's severity, demanding immediate action. From the shadows, a monstrous beast lunged forward, its presence overwhelming. The crowd panicked, realizing the true threat was far from over. Daoud activated an ability, his body reacting instinctively to the looming danger. Energy surged around him as golden light shielded him from the beast's claws. Spectators gasped in disbelief, recognizing the technique displayed before them. The monstrous foe roared in agony, its attacks repelled by the unexpected power. Murmurs spread. How could a mere student wield such overwhelming strength? Elnore stood confidently, observing the aftermath as the situation remained tense. The knights hesitated, unsure how to proceed without proper authority backing their actions. A loud impact shook the ground, drawing everyone's attention to the ongoing battle. The creature's rampage left the crowd questioning the effectiveness of their defensive barriers. Desperation spread as doubts arose about their ability to hold back the relentless force. Elia finally regained consciousness, struggling to assess the chaotic situation before her. Elnore turned, questioning why assistance had taken so long to arrive. Elia explained her delay, exhaustion evident as she steadied herself. The battlefield grew more intense, energy bursts shattering barriers with every attack. Elnori assessed the unexpected strength displayed, puzzled by the anomaly before her. Dowd revealed his motive, focusing solely on learning what could protect them. Elnori listened closely, recognizing a conviction she hadn't expected to hear. The power's limits should have restrained him, yet he wielded it effortlessly. Alia quietly observed, torn between awe and concern over Dowd's rapid growth. Tension filled the air as unspoken thoughts left lingering questions in everyone's minds. Alia's determination shone through, believing everything was for the greater good of her family. Dowd gritted his teeth, channeling energy as sparks crackled around him. The monstrous beast roared, its fangs bared, prepared to strike without hesitation. Dowd's mind raced, questioning why he was willing to go this far. Elnori sat alone in the darkness, deep in thought, emotions stirring within her heart. Elnori sat in the shadows, her thoughts clouded by uncertainty as tension filled the air. A distant glow flickered, drawing her attention as an unsettling feeling crept over her. The light grew brighter, illuminating a sharp blade that glistened with overwhelming energy. Elnor stepped forward, her presence commanding as the battlefield erupted with a powerful shockwave. A monstrous beast roars, shaking the battlefield with its overwhelming, menacing presence. Theo raises his hands, summoning a protective barrier against the devastating incoming force. Elnor watches intently, her sharp gaze locked onto the terrifying threat before them. The nobles gasp in shock as an ominous energy descends from above, splitting the air. A mysterious figure descends, radiating immense power, locking eyes with the monstrous beast below. Elnori stands drenched in the rain, gripping her weapon tightly, her resolve unwavering. She leaps from the sky, cutting through the air, aiming directly at the beast. Her blade slashes through, striking the monster's glowing eyes, causing a furious growl. The impact sends shockwaves across the battlefield, shaking the ground beneath their feet. Theo's eyes widen as he recognizes Elnor's power growing stronger before his eyes. The beast roars in pain, its claws slamming into the ground, sending debris flying. Elnori dashes forward, flames spiraling around her weapon, illuminating the chaotic battlefield. Theo watches in awe as Elnor unleashes a legendary sword technique, radiating fiery energy. Her blade carves through the air, creating a cascade of burning slashes against the beast. The battlefield explodes with light as Elnor delivers the final, decisive strike. Elnor charges forward, her sharp gaze locked onto the monstrous enemy before her. The beast lunges, jaws wide open, aiming to crush its relentless attacker instantly. A swift kick lands, forcing the massive creature back with overwhelming force. Elnor spins midair, positioning herself for another strike against the rampaging monster. Her blade pierces through, sending sparks flying as the beast recoils in pain. Flames erupt from the impact, consuming the battlefield in a golden blaze of destruction. Elnor lands gracefully, standing firm amidst the raging inferno surrounding her. Theo watches from a distance, processing the immense power unfolding before his eyes. The system's notifications flash, revealing a significant shift in the ongoing scenario. His mind races, realizing how different things are from the original course of events. Elnor stands before the flames, her sword lowered, her expression unreadable. Students and nobles scramble for safety, their eyes filled with confusion and admiration. Theo hesitates, wondering why Elnor is involving herself in such dangerous conflicts. Orders are given, ensuring everyone's safe retreat from the battlefield. As the last embers settle, Elnor exhales, gazing at the aftermath of the battle. Theo exhales, believing the battle is finally over, relief washing over his face. Elnor stands amidst the flames, her presence unwavering, her sword still drawn. A sinister presence emerges from behind, a burning figure with a twisted, monstrous grin. She turns instantly, golden energy erupting from her weapon in a protective arc. The monstrous entity screeches as divine power surges, pushing it back violently. Theo's vision blurs, memories of battle flashing through his mind as he loses consciousness. He awakens suddenly, gasping for breath, his surroundings now eerily quiet. A familiar voice reassures him, confirming the battle has ended and everyone is safe. His mind races, recalling the overwhelming power Elnor displayed in the fight. The weight of the battle lingers, questions forming about the changes unfolding around him. Chancellor Iolante stands before Theo, her gaze sharp, holding a book in her hand. She assures him that the students are unharmed, yet her presence feels unsettling. He wonders why someone so powerful has taken a sudden interest in his situation. The conversation shifts, revealing troubling news, setting the stage for another crisis. A choice must be made: what news should be heard first in the uncertain aftermath? Theo sits on the bed, listening as Iolante places a book beside him thoughtfully. His expression darkens, recalling the series of events that led him into dangerous situations. Iolante's gaze sharpens as she leans forward, ready to reveal unsettling truths about the demon. A calm evening settled as Elnor adjusted her glasses, studying the atmosphere with curiosity. Daud remained composed, his expression unreadable, carefully weighing the importance of the conversation. A distant glow flickered beyond the horizon, illuminating shadows that danced across the room. Elnor's intrigue deepened, she chose her words with precision. Sensing a deeper mystery unfolding, Daud remained seated, observing as Elnor paced, her mind calculating every possible outcome ahead. Morning sunlight streamed through the window as Elnor approached Daud's bedside with quiet determination. A subtle gesture, her fingers lightly brushing the surface, marked the beginning of something unknown. Tension crackled in the air as Daud carefully assessed the situation before him. Elnor, unshaken, maintained her confident stance, unfazed by the unfolding events around them. The room darkened slightly, the weight of unspoken truths lingering between them. Daud's expression sharpened as Elnor leaned closer, her unwavering gaze filled with silent resolve. Beyond the walls, the city stretched under the vast sky, unaware of their quiet exchange. Elnor's stance shifted, her hand adjusting her glasses as she floated above the city. Below, the land was divided, empires standing in contrast, each with its own secrets. Daud exhaled, his mind racing soon. Choices would be made and paths would be set. Elnor stood firm, eyes sharp, calculating the risks of intervening in the unfolding chaos. Daud observed the scene, weighing whether action now would worsen or prevent future catastrophe. Flames erupted, consuming the battlefield in a blaze of destruction and uncertainty. Elnor remained unfazed, raising a mysterious seal, its energy radiating immense power. Daud recognized the symbol, realization dawning as fate seemed to pull him deeper. A flicker in Elnor's glasses reflected a distant figure engulfed in dark rituals. Shadows twisted around a summoning circle, its ominous glow filling the chamber. A monstrous entity loomed, its form shifting, bound by ancient forces. Daud remained still, absorbing the weight of the knowledge revealed before him. Elnor's expression softened, acknowledging the burden now shared between them. Elnor placed a delicate yet firm hand on the seal, securing its dormant power. Daud remained in bed, replaying the conversation, realizing the gravity of his role. Sunlight streamed through the window, a stark contrast to the secrets of the night. Elnor glanced back, her question hanging in the air, waiting for his response. Daud sighed, knowing some things couldn't be avoided, and faced what lay ahead. Daud raised an eyebrow, unsure why Elnor insisted on his unchanged presence. A spark of concern flickered in his thoughts, questioning the necessity of his role. Fire erupted again, chaos surrounding him as he barely managed to stay steady. Objects scattered through the air, remnants of destruction painting a familiar scene. Elnor's casual smile contrasted the dire situation, her confidence unwavering despite the turmoil. Daud examined the mysterious item in his hand, its significance weighing heavily on him. Pacing across the room, he contemplated its meaning and possible consequences. Something about this felt off, like an anomaly within a carefully structured plan. A familiar voice interrupted his thoughts, drawing his attention to the entrance. Conrad approached with a firm stride, his presence signaling an unavoidable conversation. Conrad handed over the assignment with a confident smirk, signaling an unexpected challenge ahead. Daud hesitated, scanning the document, his mind racing at the sudden responsibility. His eyes widened in disbelief as he recognized the names written before him. Eliane and Elia stared back, their presence solidifying the gravity of his situation. The Grand Academy's halls echoed as the professor lectured on the importance of swordsmanship mastery. A student raised a hand, seeking deeper understanding beyond the basic principles of combat. Elnor, ever composed, questioned the necessity of theory over practical battle experience. The professor hesitated, caught off guard by the direct challenge from such a sharp student. The lecture concluded, emphasizing soul refinement and real combat training to avoid predictable failures. An uneasy stare-off ensued, the cold wind carrying the weight of unspoken rivalry. The mention of corruption and hidden motives intensified the already strained atmosphere. The protagonist remained calm, calculating every possible outcome of this escalating confrontation. Elnor and the fiery-haired girl clashed in ideology, their expressions sharp with determination. A silent agreement was made: strength alone wouldn't determine superiority in this battle of wits. A tense silence settled over the class as eyes shifted toward the unexpected challenge. Daud sighed, realizing he had unwillingly become the center of their academic battle. Elnore's piercing gaze held an unspoken challenge, testing his resolve with quiet intensity. The lesson resumed, though lingering tension filled the air like an unsheathed blade. Beneath the surface, alliances and rivalries continued to form, shaping the battles yet to come. The system revealed critical combat techniques, each requiring intense focus and absolute mastery in battle. A strategic evaluation suggested skill combinations that could counter unforeseen threats during real encounters. Elnore analyzed the findings, her sharp gaze assessing the potential flaws in this theory. A challenge arose, pushing the group to consider unconventional approaches to power and influence. The system's rules emphasized the dangers of facing formidable opponents without proper preparation and strategy. The group moved through the dense forest, their presence unnoticed beneath the morning sun's rays. Daud observed the approaching formation, calculating every possible scenario before taking action. A seasoned instructor studied Daud's expression, sensing his inner conflict between instinct and logic. The discussion shifted toward leadership choices, forcing Daud into an unexpected position of responsibility. With no time for hesitation, the group continued forward, each step bringing new uncertainty. Elnore remained composed, her words veiled with hidden meaning as she issued her next challenge. The fiery-haired warrior declared experience to be the true measure of skill, disregarding unnecessary doubts. Tactical advice filled the air, each word carrying deeper implications for Daud's uncertain future. A surprising offer emerged, an invitation to collaborate, shifting the dynamic of their growing rivalry. With a smirk, the invitation was accepted, marking the beginning of an unspoken alliance. An unexpected proposal was made, yet hesitation filled the air between uncertain allies. Refusal followed, with concerns of being left out or caught in unnecessary complications. Elia's confident stance masked something deeper as she questioned Daud's sudden change in demeanor. Daud averted his gaze, unsure of the right response to her unwavering stare. A silent moment passed, heavy with unspoken words and unrecognized emotions lingering between them. Elia turned away, masking disappointment with a resolute expression and determined posture. A watchful figure observed the exchange, analyzing every movement with quiet intensity. Daud sensed the rising tension, feeling an approaching challenge that couldn't be ignored. Talion Armand, the Academy's elite, stood before him, eyes locked in steely determination. The weight of expectations loomed overhead, forcing Daud into an inevitable confrontation. Observing Talion, Daud recalled the formidable strength hidden beneath his composed demeanor. The system reacted, revealing new updates regarding Daud's unintentional influence on others. A simmering rivalry became apparent, pushing Daud into an unavoidable situation. With accusations of deception in the air, the battle of wits and pride began. As the moment of truth approached, both sides prepared to reveal their true intentions. Daud Campbell smirked, eyes gleaming as his opponent trembled. Victory felt inevitable, his power was unmatched. Elnore stood silently, the wind brushing her hair. The outcome had already been decided. Elnore gazed at Daud with sharp eyes, her expression unreadable beneath the bright sky. Daud felt tension rise as the gap between them narrowed, uncertainty lingering in his chest. A smirk played on Elnore's lips, her confidence unwavering despite the growing unease. With measured steps she approached, curiosity flickering in her piercing gaze like burning embers. Daud exhaled sharply, masking his thoughts, while Elnore's posture remained strong and composed. A stern voice cut through the air, questioning Daud's involvement and his unexpected progress. A green-haired instructor furrowed his brows, flipping through reports with an expression of disbelief. Elnore's sharp gaze met his, a quiet yet firm declaration lingering between them. She lifted her chin, unfazed by doubt, her unwavering confidence almost intimidating. With steady hands, she challenged skepticism, daring him to witness her true strength. Dark thoughts clouded the instructor's mind as he observed Elnore's unshaken resolve. A distant bell rang, signaling an impending battle beneath the vast blue sky. Elnore wrapped herself in a hood, concealing her identity as she advanced forward. A flicker of determination burned in her eye as she prepared for combat. With a swift motion, she unleashed a deadly attack, cutting down the monstrous beast. A red-haired noble sneered, gripping his sword tightly, questioning the rising influence of Daud. Trisha adjusted her glasses, analyzing the situation, her sharp mind racing with calculations. Dark energy surged as an unknown force awakened, shaking the ground beneath their feet. A battle erupted, Eva striking with explosive force, her fists glowing with raw energy. Trisha watched in quiet concern, sensing the growing tension between conflicting forces. Eva wiped sweat from her brow, breathing heavily after the intense clash. She turned toward a cloaked figure, greeting them with a familiar warmth. Trisha studied Eva's expression, searching for signs of hidden emotions beneath her confidence. A dark aura flickered, hinting at unresolved conflicts stirring beneath the surface. Despite exhaustion, Eva remained resilient, determined to stand strong no matter the cost. Trisha's gentle voice carried wisdom, unraveling the hidden emotions within Eva's guarded heart. Eva hesitated, struggling to admit the lingering thoughts consuming her mind. Trisha mentioned Daud's distance, noting how Eva longed for their friendship. Eva's eyes flashed with uncertainty, torn between stubborn pride and unspoken longing. Leaves rustled softly as emotions settled, yet unanswered questions remained between them. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves as Trisha spoke about Daud's uncertain reputation. Eva's expression wavered, frustration and admiration mixing in her determined gaze. Trisha's calm voice carried wisdom, her words laced with quiet understanding. Eva clenched her fists, torn between wanting to help Daud and respecting his decisions. A distant figure caught their attention, disrupting the quiet moment. Daud sprinted through the dense forest, instinct screaming of incoming danger. A system notification flashed before his eyes, warning of an enraged opponent's pursuit. The energy around him crackled as Taijan's fury reached an uncontrollable peak. With a bloodthirsty glare, Taijan roared, lunging forward with reckless aggression. Daud's heart pounded as he dodged, barely avoiding the deadly strike. The battlefield blurred as Taijan's relentless assault forced Daud into constant retreat. A desperate breath left his lips as Taijan's blade sliced through the air. Daud winced, struggling to maintain balance under the overwhelming pressure. Taijan's eyes burned with unyielding rage, his attacks growing more unpredictable. A sudden realization flashed in Daud's mind: he needed to end this quickly. Daud smirked confidently, his mind racing as he prepared for the chaotic battle ahead. A powerful impact shattered the air, shaking the ground as energy erupted around them. Taijan's golden hair whipped wildly as he surged forward, unrelenting in his assault. Dark energy crackled around him, his body glowing with overwhelming power, ready to strike. With an earth-shaking roar, Taijan unleashed his strongest attack, lightning surging through his weapon. Daud's eyes widened in shock as a sudden surge of golden energy filled the battlefield. Eva lunged forward, her sword slicing through the air, shattering everything in her path. Golden lightning crackled around her, determination burning in her eyes as she stood unwavering. Elia's sharp gaze locked onto Daud, energy crackling as she took a determined step forward. Daud's expression shifted from surprise to recognition, memories of past encounters flashing through his mind. Without hesitation, Elia lunged forward, closing the distance between them in an instant. She grabbed Daud forcefully, eyes filled with conviction, asserting dominance over the moment. A cold realization settled over Daud as Elia reminded him of his previous humiliating defeat. Daud observed from afar, tension rising as he witnessed Elia's unexpected and overwhelming presence. Daud forced a strained smile, attempting to downplay the intensity of the situation. Elia remained unmoved, demanding an explanation for what she had just witnessed. Daud scrambled for words, but before he could react, Elia delivered a decisive strike. He was sent flying, crashing onto the ground with a heavy impact. Elia stepped forward unwavering, showing no interest in excuses or justifications. Daud struggled to rise, questioning why Elia always stood firmly in defense of Daud. Daud approached, placing a hand on Elia's shoulder, his expression unreadable. Daud's mind raced, realization dawning as he pieced together the unsettling truth. A chilling thought consumed him: he had unknowingly faced a power far beyond his comprehension. Daud knelt on the ground, exhaustion and defeat weighing heavily on his shoulders. He lowered his head, acknowledging the overwhelming difference in strength between them. Elia stood firm, ensuring no further confrontation, her unwavering stance speaking louder than words. Daud observed in silence, understanding the unspoken weight behind their interactions. The tension eased as the situation settled, but unresolved questions lingered between them. The breeze carried scattered thoughts as Daud refocused on more immediate responsibilities. A familiar voice interrupted his thoughts, pulling him back to the present moment. A woman dressed in religious attire approached, her expression filled with curiosity. She introduced herself, recognizing him from previous encounters and seeking answers. Daud listened, realizing the conversation might not be as simple as it seemed. Trish observed Daud closely, her expression shifting with silent contemplation. She pondered the situation, processing what she had witnessed moments ago. An abrupt shift in movement caused confusion as unexpected forces took hold. Chaos unfolded in an instant, launching Trish into an uncontrollable descent. Daud stood frozen, watching the absurdity unfold, reaffirming how unpredictable his surroundings had become. A smirk appeared as the challenge was acknowledged, testing strength in a battle of wits. An impatient glance followed, urging immediate action rather than hesitation. Dawood, unfazed, remained focused on his own objective, dismissing unnecessary distractions. A curious observation was made regarding the sheer amount of collected resources. The final score was announced, solidifying first place with an impressive lead. The assignment concluded as Dawood prepared to move forward with the results. A familiar presence approached, signaling the end of the ongoing session. The conversation carried hints of caution, a subtle warning about future encounters. Concern lingered over the unpredictable nature of Alaya and her actions. A reassuring farewell was exchanged, though uncertainty still loomed over the situation. A ritual began, glowing energy forming intricate patterns in the air. Alaya observed in silence, her thoughts clouded with questions she dared not voice. The academy loomed in the distance, its halls filled with unknown opportunities. A figure reclined in luxury, exuding confidence with every calculated movement. A new encounter unfolded, revealing deeper complexities within the Academy's political landscape. The Academy halls buzzed with tension as alliances and rivalries dictated every move. Dawood navigated carefully, knowing preparation was key for the looming dangerous trials. A discussion unfolded, obligations and hidden agendas shaping the course of their interaction. A calculating gaze assessed the situation, weighing personal gain against potential risks. A notification appeared, signaling an unexpected yet valuable reward had been obtained. Strength surged within, power manifesting as newfound potential unlocked. Memories resurfaced, past choices intertwining with the uncertain path ahead. A vision of destruction loomed, a sinister force threatening the Academy's stability. Determination solidified extreme measures were necessary to face the impending catastrophe. A bold statement was made, shocking those who understood its true implications. Dawood raised his hand with confidence, demanding something unexpected that left the room momentarily silent. Paris, unimpressed, took a slow sip of tea, considering the absurdity of the request. Her patience thinned as she leaned forward, questioning his reasoning with a sharp, skeptical gaze. Without hesitation, Dawood presented an official document, proving his request had already been authorized. Paris sighed in resignation, rubbing her temples as she begrudgingly accepted the ridiculous situation. Dawood remained calm, assuring that his intentions weren't reckless but necessary for what lay ahead. Paris studied him carefully, recognizing the determination in his eyes, realizing he had a plan. With an exasperated sigh, she granted her approval, knowing he wouldn't back down. Dawood nodded, offering a polite acknowledgement before turning to leave with renewed purpose. Paris muttered to herself, feeling as though she had just enabled something inevitable. She clenched her fist, wondering how things had escalated so quickly in mere moments. Meanwhile, Dawood walked briskly down the dim corridor, thoughts focused on his next steps. His eyes scanned the documents in his hands, confirming what he needed to prepare. A warm glow filled the hallway as a lone figure stood waiting ahead. The stranger called out, stopping Dawood in his tracks, their presence impossible to ignore. Dawood froze as the man spoke his name, his instincts warning him of hidden danger. The man, Galder Riverback, revealed his identity with a confident smirk, watching Dawood closely. A charitable organization was merely a front, concealing a far more sinister secret underneath. Dawood remained still, masking his thoughts as he pieced together Riverback's true intentions carefully. The air around them grew tense, an unspoken battle of wits unfolding between their gazes. Riverback grinned, acknowledging Dawood's reputation, intrigued by the rumors surrounding his past victories. A faint glow of the setting sun cast long shadows as the conversation intensified. Dawood's expression remained unreadable, silently weighing his options against the man's unpredictable nature. Riverback's casual stance masked his true power, a dangerous presence lingering beneath his composed exterior. Tension thickened as both men stood firm, awaiting the next inevitable move between them. Dawood suddenly dashed, breaking the uneasy silence, forcing Riverback to react without hesitation. A golden document slipped from his grip as the wind carried it away swiftly. With a swift motion, Dawood caught it midair, securing its contents from prying eyes. Unseen figures lurked in the darkness, their weapons gleaming under the dim corridor lights. His allies stood ready, their unwavering presence forming a silent shield behind his back. Dawood clenched his fists, strategizing the best approach to handle the looming battle ahead. He questioned his role in the unfolding events, uncertain about the direction fate was taking. The weight of responsibility pressed on him, but he focused on the present situation first. His footsteps echoed as he moved forward, determination fueling his every movement without hesitation. A sudden knock on the door broke his thoughts, pulling him back to reality. Eleanor's voice carried through the door, her presence unexpected but not entirely unwelcome. She stood waiting, her silver hair glowing under the soft light of the evening. Dowd hesitated briefly before responding, sensing that she had something important to say. The air between them remained tense, unspoken thoughts hanging heavily in the quiet hallway. Eleanor's question was direct, catching him slightly off guard as she studied his reaction. An unexpected interruption shifted the atmosphere as a familiar presence approached with deliberate steps. The student council president interjected, a knowing smirk playing on their lips confidently. Eleanor's posture stiffened slightly, an unspoken rivalry surfacing in the subtle exchange of glances. Dowd stood in the middle, caught between the sudden shift in the conversation's direction. The conversation turned toward an invitation, an outing that carried more meaning than expected. Dowd's heart pounded as he carefully chose his words, aware of Eleanor's unwavering gaze. Eleanor's red eyes widened slightly, her expression betraying a mix of curiosity and unexpected anticipation. The golden light framed them both as silence lingered, waiting for an answer to unfold. The golden field stretched endlessly, the warm breeze carrying a distant call through the air. Rushing forward, Dowd scanned the horizon. His heart pounded as he searched for Elia. Elia sat quietly, her back turned, shoulders trembling slightly as she wiped away silent tears. Dowd exhaled, his hands tightening. Guilt weighed on him, his teasing had gone too far. A gentle smile formed as he knelt beside her, trying to ease the tension. Dowd extended his hand, offering silent reassurance. Strength was needed and she had to endure. Elia frowned, rejecting the gesture. Her pride refused to accept anything given so easily. The setting sun cast long shadows as Dowd revealed biscuits, tempting her curiosity. The distant future loomed. If all went well, he would soon join the battlefield. Elia's expression darkened. The world beyond their peaceful fields promised both adventure and danger. Doubt lingered in Elia's gaze. How could someone reckless dream of becoming a true hero? Dowd stood firm, determination shining in his eyes. His path was already set before him. The sky burned crimson as he acknowledged the risks ahead. Fate was rarely kind. Elia nibbled a biscuit, frustration bubbling. His presence was a constant annoyance but also comforting. The sun dipped below the horizon as they stood together, their bond unspoken but unwavering. Elia lay in bed, her thoughts heavy as she blinked awake in the dim light. A sudden noise startled her. She rose cautiously, peeking through the half-open door. Dowd stood outside, looking awkward. His presence was unexpected this late at night. He fumbled with words, his usual confidence replaced by hesitation as he apologized. In his hands he held food, an awkward gesture of peace and reconciliation. Elia stared at the offering, unsure whether to accept the unexpected kindness. Dowd's grin was unwavering, his actions fueled by a deeper, unspoken concern. The mention of friendship caught Elia off guard, stirring emotions she struggled to understand. Her confusion deepened as he requested her help. His expression suddenly serious, urgency filled the air, making her wonder what trouble he had entangled himself in. Elsewhere, Elnori sat in a grand hall, reviewing documents with a calm demeanor. The weight of leadership rested upon her shoulders as she analyzed recent reports. A subordinate stood before her, his nervous energy evident as he awaited orders. Elnora's gaze was sharp, her voice firm as she assessed the unfolding situation. The room carried an air of tension, filled with the weight of unspoken strategies. A name surfaced from the pages, unfamiliar yet powerful, Ulu Garuda, a force to be reckoned with. The air crackled with energy as a warrior leaped, her presence commanding awe and fear. Elnori narrowed her eyes, recognition flickering. Strength like that was never mere coincidence. A list of names filled the parchment, marking the arrival of something significant. Beyond the academy walls, the Holy Empire prepared for a change that would reshape everything. The weight of responsibility settled on Elnor as information reached her, every piece holding importance. Faces from different factions gathered, tension thick in the air, alliances yet to be decided. Dowd stood among them, uncertain yet determined, caught in the pull of unfolding events. The pieces were moving, and those involved had no choice but to play their roles. Under the night sky, uncertainty lingered as decisions made now would shape the days ahead. The observation deck overlooked the academy, offering a rare moment of peace before inevitable chaos. Stars glittered above, indifferent to the turmoil brewing within the hearts of those below. Dowd found solace in the night, unaware of the dangers inching closer with each moment. Elia, restless, questioned the timing. Some things couldn't wait, even beneath a tranquil moon. In the shadows, fate continued weaving its web, drawing them further into an unavoidable storm. Elia and Dowd stood at the edge, peering down at the enormous contraption beneath them. The towering structure loomed, gears clicking into place as tension filled the air. A lever was pulled, setting everything into motion, launching them into the unknown. Flames erupted beneath them as their bodies shot through the night sky like comets. Elia screamed, wind rushing past, heart pounding while Daud remained steady in midair. A vortex of energy expanded before them, crackling with a force neither could control. Stars blurred as they accelerated toward a swirling portal glowing ominously in the distance. Daud kept his gaze forward, determination unwavering despite the chaotic energy around them. Elia glanced at him, realizing their destination was far more dangerous than anticipated. The portal opened wider, pulling them in as reality twisted into shimmering fragments. The portal expanded, revealing a desolate world of floating ruins bathed in crimson light. The unstable realm shimmered around Daud and Elia, their time within it rapidly slipping away. Floating islands drifted weightlessly, the eerie glow casting their silhouettes against the violet expanse. The air pulsed with energy, the interdimensional void stretching infinitely beyond their limited understanding. Gravity wavered beneath them, pulling unpredictably, making every movement feel uncertain and disorienting. Daud smirked, unfazed by the chaos, already planning their next move within the shifting abyss. Elia hesitated, unsure if trusting him in this bizarre realm was truly a wise choice. The floating stones vibrated, repelled by the energy surging from the heart of the void. Daud leaped effortlessly, calculating the movement of the rocks before his next daring step. Elia's panic rose, the weightlessness making her feel as if she had no control. The moment of hesitation vanished as gravity shifted, sending them both plummeting downward instantly. The world around them spun violently as they tumbled through the interdimensional vortex. Flashes of unknown landscapes flickered past, showing glimpses of places beyond their comprehension. A searing light engulfed them, forcing their bodies to adjust to a new reality. Heat rushed through Elia's senses as she found herself standing amid raging flames. The burning remnants of a familiar place surrounded her, the echoes of past memories resurfacing. The flames roared around Elia, her trembling hands gripping tightly onto a familiar presence. Memories of past battles flooded her mind, each one etched in fire and sorrow. A comforting warmth settled around her, a silent reassurance that she wasn't facing this alone. The flickering embers reflected in her eyes, determination growing despite the overwhelming chaos. A final push was needed, a decision that would change everything they once knew. Suspended between realms, Daud and Elia struggled against the shifting forces surrounding them. The weightlessness was unsettling, their bodies resisting gravity while the abyss pulled them downward. Daud moved swiftly, reaching out to grasp Elia's hand before she could slip further. A floating island loomed ahead, their only solid ground in the vast unknown. With no other choice, they braced themselves, ready for the uncertain landing below. The strange realm pulsed with energy, its shifting hues revealing long-forgotten secrets. A spectral presence lingered in the mist, whispering echoes of a forgotten legend. The ghost of Gregory's pavilion materialized, its form twisting in vibrant, ethereal light. Daud tightened his grip, knowing that whatever lay ahead required every ounce of their strength. The path was unclear, but one thing was certain: there was no turning back now. Suspended midair, Elia struggled to maintain balance as the gravitational pull began shifting. Rocks floated around them, weightless, while an ominous growl echoed from the abyss below. A monstrous maw emerged, its jagged teeth forming a void threatening to consume everything. The sight sent chills through Elia. Realization hitting this realm held dangers beyond imagination. Daud's gaze sharpened, already calculating their next move before disaster struck. Gravity inverted, dragging them toward the beast's gaping mouth at terrifying speed. Elia's stomach lurched, disoriented by the sudden pull shifting against her will. Daud maneuvered quickly, grabbing hold of Elia as they spiraled uncontrollably downward. A glowing energy source emerged beneath them, signaling an escape amidst the chaos. Their bodies slammed into the light, vanishing from the beast's reach at the last second. They landed harshly on a solid surface, bodies aching from the sudden impact. Gasping for breath, Elia's hands trembled, struggling to process what had just happened. Daud dusted himself off, unfazed, a knowing smirk playing on his lips. Elia's frustration grew, realizing he had anticipated this scenario from the very beginning. The unknown world stretched before them, filled with new threats they had yet to understand. Daud handed over a small object, his expression casual but hiding a deeper intent. Elia accepted it hesitantly, her exhaustion evident but softened by the unexpected gesture. A faint glow pulsed in the air, marking a shift neither had anticipated. Daud's eyes widened as an unseen force stirred, altering something beyond his control. Suspended midair, their journey continued, an unknown future pulling them deeper into uncertainty. Ilya's eyes widened, a spark of realization flickering within as something shifted deep inside her. She stared in disbelief, wiping blood from her lips, confused by the foreign sensation coursing through her veins. He calmly explained, "It's not poison. It's a binding ritual, physical and spiritual. You're no longer entirely yourself now." Shocked, she sat up straight, fists clenched. The realization settled, she had been dragged into something far beyond understanding. He confirmed her suspicion. "You've entered the realm of demon contracts. That's what this fruit was for." Before she could respond, another man stormed in, fuming. "Dean person hit me with lightning, just for being curious." He explained they were trapped between dimensions, their bodies suspended while passing through the unstable interdimensional spiritual realm together. Despite her magical background, she was shocked. Percy admitted witches weren't used to encountering genuine spiritual entities like this. She cautiously asked, "Is this enough?" hoping her efforts would earn the reward he hinted at before everything began. He declined the gift, proposing instead a request permission to bind the spirit to a magic item for research. She hesitated. Granting that meant risking the spirit's growth. Its consciousness would awaken further, possibly beyond her control. He praised Dowd's bold decision, sensing potential. She nodded, uneasy but trusting this path would lead to deeper answers. Before proceeding, Dowd paused and asked a serious question. He needed clarity before sharing the item's full potential. Tristan looked at him, surprised, and asked, "Why are you doing all this? What drives you forward?" He recalled recent battles disarming assassins, saving candidates, holding back monsters, too many fights that demanded rapid strength and precision. Tristan listened quietly. Dowd admitted the bosses ahead were beyond human, demon-level threats. He was entangled with both fates. He paused, reflecting. "I didn't even realize that—" A sigh escaped him, thoughts swirling about how far he'd come. Tristan turned, voice steady. "Then I'll ask a question too. Why do you favor me so much, Dowd?" Caught off guard, she asked again. "What do you mean?" Unsure if it was strategy, convenience, or something deeper. Dowd explained, others wouldn't even think to ask. "You speak directly, and that's rare. You're not afraid of consequences." She remembered the purple-haired woman, cold, powerful, mysterious. She said the same, that I break expectations and disturb the system. The orange-haired woman confessed her thoughts. Her actions, choices, and ambitions felt shaped by the Chancellor's overwhelming influence. Dowd stared ahead, conflicted. "What will you eventually demand from me after showing all this interest and generosity?" A voice interrupted, stern. "Watch your tone when addressing the Chancellor, student Dowd. You're far too casual with authority." Outside, the academy stood tall and peaceful. Yet inside, Dowd felt pressure mounting under the Chancellor's mysterious favor. Alone with his thoughts, Dowd prepared to answer the looming question. "The truth is," he finally whispered to himself. Tristan teased with a grin. "Maybe it's simply because you're cute?" Her tone light, but her eyes observing carefully. Dowd groaned internally. "I really should keep my distance from every lunatic," he muttered, rubbing his forehead in defeat. He reviewed his current situation. The spiritual item could affect the environment and reshape nearby magical elements permanently if mishandled. As the moon rose, calm blanketed the academy, unaware of the countless students gathering under torchlight for evening announcements. A voice called all students to attention. Dowd arrived silently, blending with others. "I hate this kind of attention," he muttered. Dowd arrived at the meeting point. "You're here, Dowd," she said calmly, turning to face him with a smile. He scratched his head. "Ah, President. Did I make you wait?" Her lips curled slightly. "Not too long, just about 6 hours," she added casually, making him freeze mid-thought. Her tone made it hard to tell if serious. Dowd's eyes widened. 6 hours? That means you've been here since before the announcement ceremony even started." She laughed. "I'm very fast at collecting data. Didn't you check the event's starting point ahead?" He groaned. "Too thorough." She confessed. "I was bored, so I showed up early to observe things." Her voice remained calm, unreadable. Dowd laughed awkwardly. "That's dedication, but don't suddenly drag me like that." She grabbed his hand without hesitation. Her fingers tightened confidently. "Then don't just stand there, let's go. You're already late." He couldn't refuse her pull. As they walked quickly, he muttered, "Why is the line not getting shorter?" She replied, "Don't stop walking." Through the crowd, their hands stayed linked. Dowd sighed. "This isn't how I expected today to go at all." Amid the crowd, Dowd wondered aloud, "Will we even get inside?" The tension around him was thick and restless. The attendant shouted in frustration, "Number 27! One more call and you're out." The student finally responded, avoiding disqualification. "Number 28, please head on in." The attendant called. Daoud's number had finally been announced just barely in time. Surprised, Daoud recognized someone nearby. "Ah, Talion, what are you doing here?" Talion smiled brightly at being remembered. "I'm working part-time here. No allowance," Talion explained. The woman beside Daoud narrowed her eyes. "So, the council president's here too?" The attendant asked nervously, "Mr. Daoud, what's your relationship with the president?" "You two arrived together." Everyone turned to look. Daoud hesitated. "Our relationship?" He questioned himself internally. Why was he with her? Was this really a formal school date? She answered for him. "Part-time, entry by my authority." Her tone was clear and commanding. Talion nodded nervously. Daoud noticed something strange. "Wait, Talion, are you wearing a necklace?" A suspicious glint reflected from Talion's collarbone. Talion held it up. "Yes." From the foundation of purity, suddenly a hidden skill-activated rule of evil targeted him instantly. Daoud pointed at Talion's necklace. "Yeah, don't wear that today." Talion blinked, confused. "Huh?" The tension suddenly rose around them. Talion nodded slowly. "I understand, Mr. Daoud." He looked shaken. After gaining Elia and Elnore's affection, Daoud felt things shifting. He knew now careful attention was needed. The original story was diverging. Everything around him grew more unpredictable by day. Daoud walked forward, expression steady. The ballroom felt different. Now just the two of them entered as a pair. The doors burst open. So, what a turn. "This is happening now," Daoud muttered, heart heavy with sudden realization. The host announced, "And student Daoud." Hearing his name, Daoud tensed. "I'll need a counterplan. This is serious now." Daoud receives a new quest: attend a noble banquet. He's confused, but knows refusal isn't an option this time. At the venue, a bearded noble greets them. Daoud stands beside Elnore, both uneasy about this forced gathering. Elnore narrows her eyes, clearly annoyed. "Who decided this?" she asks, her voice sharp. Daoud senses tension building fast. Elnore narrows her eyes, clearly annoyed. "Who decided this?" she asks, her voice sharp. Daoud senses tension building fast. The host laughs, raising a drink. "Let's enjoy the evening." Daoud forces a smile, heart pounding with growing dread. The instructor, holding a drink, smiles slyly and asks Daoud if he knows why he's been summoned to this place. Daoud answers calmly but sharply, suspecting the instructor wants to talk nonsense about rituals and demon revival during the festival. He accuses the instructor of plotting a massacre during the weakened public order of the full moon festival night. Daoud continues, exposing the plan: release monsters across the capital, kill knights covertly, and gather demonic energy through chaos. He concludes the scheme's purpose: awaken a powerful demon hidden deep within the Tristan bloodline by spreading fear and destruction. Daoud reveals the entire scheme: summoning monsters, chaos, and demon revival was already reported to the Chancellor before this meeting. Shocked, the instructor stammers. Daoud calmly asks what he plans to do now that the higher authorities know everything. From a distance, a shadowed figure watches. They realize Daoud isn't just bold, he's calculating and far more dangerous than expected. The instructor, trembling, realizes Daoud's not bluffing. He masks his panic behind a strained smile and a half-finished drink. Daoud smirks. "My background may seem weak, but I've already won." His calm eyes say everything the instructor fears. Elnore crashes down from above, blade in hand, stunning everyone as she interrupts the tense confrontation without warning. The instructor panics at her sudden appearance, recognizing her instantly. The daughter of Tristan? Why is she here now? Elnore meets his stare coldly. She confirms her identity without hesitation, making her intentions clear with just her presence. Other guests nervously excuse themselves. The atmosphere tightens as they sense a clash involving the feared Tristan bloodline. Elnore glares ahead. She warns that regardless of the Academy's authority, she won't allow Daoud to be harmed again. The enforcer reminds Elnore that Imperial law allows handling demon worshippers, but questions if she's prepared to fight them all. Elnore's aura shifts. Her eyes glow with power as she simply replies that she'll try to hold out alone. The man steps forward confidently, stating they only need to capture her alive, assuming she'll surrender without serious resistance. He reaches toward her dismissively, underestimating her strength and ignoring the rising energy surging around her body in silence. Elnore explodes with power, slamming him into the ground with a devastating blow that leaves no doubt about her intent. The enforcers panic. Their plan is falling apart as Elnore overwhelms them faster than they can react or organize. One man shouts not to kill her, reminding the others that she must be captured alive to complete the plan. Elnori stands tall over a fallen opponent. Calm and composed, she declares that mere knights won't be a problem today. More enemies charge. Her eyes glow ominously, locking onto the next wave with clear intent to finish them swiftly. With incredible speed, she leaps through the air and crashes into the group, sending bodies flying without any mercy. Elnori's red eyes flare intensely. Her power heightens, and her focus narrows to eliminate every remaining enemy without hesitation. She launches forward, striking multiple foes in rapid succession. Each move is precise, overwhelming the group before they react. Elnori spins midair, kicking down an attacker. The enemies collapse one after another, unable to stop her relentless assault. With a sharp clash of blades, another soldier falls. Her sword control is perfect, leaving no opening for retaliation. Elnori crashes into the last line. One man, terrified, realizes they underestimated her far too much, and it's too late. The instructor stares in disbelief, unable to accept that Elnori defeated his men so easily without sustaining any injuries. Elnori stretches and smiles calmly. Daud watches from behind, surprised at how she seems stronger than ever after the battle. Elnori teases Daud. She demands another outing, claiming her strength returns after every fight. Daud listens, clearly caught off guard. An exclusive quest appears. Daud has captured the interest of Elnori Tristan. He's confused, wondering why she's attached to him. Meanwhile, the instructor clutches a glowing orb. He prepares to use forbidden power demonic essence as a last, desperate move. Daud panics as the demonic essence starts reacting. He realizes something far worse is being triggered by its presence now. He shouts to Elnor, urging her to stop the instructor from consuming the essence before it's too late. The instructor raises the glowing orb. He declares he will ascend beyond human limits, invoking the so-called grace of God. The sky darkens over the academy building. The moon looms silently as something sinister begins to awaken nearby. Dark energy erupts violently from the building, shaking the ground and signaling that a new threat has just begun. The explosion left smoke and rubble behind. A single hand rose from the debris, trembling but alive through agony. Daud Campbell forced himself up, coughing. "I didn't want to be involved," he muttered. "Why am I even here?" A monstrous figure loomed above, demonic energy blazing. "How will you respond to fate?" It bellowed with dreadful intensity. A divine presence clashed with darkness. A glowing form descended from the moonlight, electrifying the skies with raw power. Daud stared silently at the heavens. "This world really isn't built for me," he whispered, swallowed by what's coming. A mission prompt appeared: subdue the purifier. Daud clenched his jaw. Another task, another fight he never asked for. The enemy growled, monstrous and ruthless. Another objective popped up: keep casualties low. He was already failing before it even started. The purifier roared. "Now is the time for purification!" Daud sprinted toward him, heart racing, body still recovering from earlier. He darted across the cracked ground. "Damn it," he hissed. The problem isn't him. Something worse was happening out of sight. A hand pierced the earth, twisted, corrupted. The man-eaters, they're back, he realized. Elnori's efforts were undone. The threat had multiplied. The horde of resurrected man-eaters charged with bloodlust. Their eyes glowed red, their hunger for flesh returning with vengeance. Daud struck first David Piercing's stab. A bolt of energy crashed down, scattering enemies before they reached the civilian line. He landed beside the stunned crowd. "That should slow them down," he muttered, catching his breath while gripping his weapon. A noblewoman appeared. "What are these monsters? Where's Rivasak?" she demanded, alarmed. Her guards lay defeated or vanished in fear. Daud pointed coldly. "These are your comrades now." Her eyes widened. Behind her, twisted figures approached. "What? They were human!" Daud stepped forward. "Could it be... the Marquis is behind this?" he asked, piecing the strange chaos together fast. The man nodded grimly. "That's right. If you don't want hell, listen closely. I'll explain what must be done." "I understand," she replied, eyes narrowing. "But what will you do now, Teacher David?" Her concern was sharp and honest. "I'll protect the civilians and stop the Marquis," David said. "Anyway, run, Talion," he shouted, giving her a quick glance. David turned to the noblewoman. "Do you know where the Marquis went?" She replied quietly. "Yes? Well, I have a guess." Under the moonlight, monstrous figures moved. "The demon worshippers all want the same thing," she said. "Destruction without limit. They spread chaos and despair," she continued, "and they call their sacred place Pandemonium, the land of demons in ruin. That's where he's going," she confirmed, her voice cold. The cursed place now had a new visitor with dark purpose. The figure stood behind a magical barrier. "Even if I can't cross it, I can strike through it." The demon's chest cracked open. "This is my heart, use it to break the shield," he growled. Power surged outward violently. Energy surged from the demon's chest, tearing it open. The heart shattered, sparking power meant to destroy the barrier. "Don't resist," the demon warned, glowing violently. Dowd watched calmly, calculating. This plan, reckless as it was, needed precise timing. "You're just too obvious," Dowd muttered. He shifted subtly, hiding his true target behind a simple look and steady breath. Dowd caught her midair. "Don't lose focus now," he said firmly. "We still need to move before the next attack." Landing near the shimmering dome, he looked up. "We're not too late. Whatever he's doing, it starts here." She questioned it. Will both of us survive this? But Dowd's gaze held no doubt, only firm belief in her. She hesitated, trembling. Her heart felt heavy from the overwhelming trust he placed in her strength and will. This wasn't easy. Still, I must respond to that trust, she thought. It's the duty of a Tristan. With swords drawn, she leapt toward the demon. Energy surged around her. "Engage her!" The monster screamed, preparing to strike. The sky erupted. Light burst in every direction. "President, this way!" a voice shouted as shockwaves thundered through the field. The enemy roared, "Don't even think of running away!" But Dowd wasn't running, he was closing in, fast and precise. Blue lightning erupted as Dowd advanced. The air cracked with pressure. He dodged incoming strikes with focus and clean movement. The demon panicked. "How?" it growled as the girl pierced forward, her blade targeting the center of its power. She cut through, sending the beast flying backward. Energy spiraled around them both, splitting sky and ground with pure force. Dowd pushed through the collapsing waves of magic, sprinting toward the heart of battle. There was no time to waste. Dowd leapt high, straight toward the battlefield's core. No hesitation, no fear, just a goal he had to finish. "You mere insect, fight me yourself!" The demon roared, sensing Dowd's approach. Its rage grew with every passing second. "Stop running away!" she screamed, chasing the monster. Her strikes were relentless, refusing to let it shift focus from her. The demon countered with brute force. Red light clashed against steel, filling the air with violent shockwaves and burning heat. Dowd crashed to the ground, rolling. He pushed himself up again. There was no stopping until this ended, now or never. The demon roared, "Fangs of darkness!" as black lightning surged downward, targeting Dowd with full power and murderous intent. Dowd pushed himself up, battered but focused. "I'll make sure to finish you off this time," the demon shouted furiously. A swirling power erupted in the air. Darkness clawed through space. Dowd felt something inside him tearing apart violently. He gritted his teeth and stared ahead. "I have to survive." Energy burst from his chest, brighter than ever. Flashes of his enemies returned to Elnor's eyes, burning cold. The world twisted. His core pulsed with uncontrollable demonic force. Dowd's body cracked under pressure. Lightning surged through his limbs. His heart screamed as a second transformation ignited without warning. He dropped to one knee. Blood spilled from his mouth. The cursed ring snapped loose, falling into endless void. Dowd crashed into the ground, blood spilling. Pain blocked his thoughts. The enemy's roar shook the sky above him. Elnor stepped forward without hesitation. Her voice was cold, steady. The demon ahead pulsed with rage, ready to strike. "You won't die here." She glided forward, carrying Dowd effortlessly. Her command echoed, "Stand up, Dowd. Fight like you mean it." The demon mocked her confidence, red eyes gleaming. "Try it," he growled. But she didn't flinch, standing tall and firm. Blood ran down Elnor's cheek. She remembered Dowd's earlier struggle. "Don't give up," she whispered, clenching her blade tighter. In the past, Dowd knelt before the commander. Orders were given coldly, his mission clear, his life expendable. Now, golden light surged within him. He raised his fist high, power returning. "It's about time I pay him back." Bleeding and breathless, Dowd shouted, "Hurry!" The system announced, "Necklace of Vitality activated. Distribution freeze. Stamina increased." Elnor leapt toward the enemy, voice steady. "I'll believe in you until the end." Her blade pointed toward death. The demon's eyes narrowed. "You still think you can stand? I'll destroy your last hope with my hands." Elnor faced the demon calmly. "Marquise Riverback, I have one question for you before this ends." She turned her head slightly. "Tonight, in your eyes, do that man and I suit each other well?" The demon paused. His expression didn't change, but silence lingered between them as the weight of her words settled. He finally answered, "Dreadfully so." "Do you intend to make yourself a villainess after how far he's led you?" Elnor's eyes narrowed. She stepped forward, leaving no reply, just purpose written in her steady gaze. Rain poured as Elnor charged forward. Her blade glowed faintly. The enemy loomed large, unmoved by her approach. With a burst of speed, she struck the demon's arm. Sparks flew. He roared, countering with overwhelming force. The battlefield exploded with motion. Blades clashed, bursts of energy lit the darkness. Elnor dodged relentlessly, targeting weak spots. "Trauma termination!" she shouted, driving her sword deep. Light engulfed her figure as her strike sent them both flying. The shockwave slammed into the earth. Debris flew everywhere. The monster howled, vanishing into smoke as silence took over. The demon screamed in pain. Something struck him deep. He twisted on the ground, furious, confused by Daud's move. "Daud, you bastard!" he roared, then noticed the empty ground. The target had vanished before he could retaliate. Blue sparks flickered. He already scurried away like a rat, the demon growled. Elnor's eyes widened. "No!" she shouted. Lightning burst through the battlefield. "What more do you have hidden up your sleeve?" The demon howled, eyes searching. Amidst rubble, a pale corpse writhed. Something else had awoken beneath the surface, and it was not done yet. A man stood calmly beside fallen bodies. "It looks like things are about done here," he said quietly. One of the women sighed. "You're lucky you two were there. Just a little later and not many survive." "That brat!" "It's a good thing Jesse came. I can't help but hear what Dad said," she muttered. He glanced at her. "I only came here to deal with him, but if we hadn't shown up." The full moon glowed coldly above. "Something about this timing feels too clean. What a few frightening coincidences," he muttered, exhausted. The broken ring hit the ground with a clang. Daud stared at it, panting. "Erg, it hurts so much." He looked up, eyes filled with resolve. "Hold out for just a little longer, Elnor," he whispered through pain. Elnor fell toward him, body limp. Daud caught her mid-air, barely keeping balance as her weight dragged him down. Blood covered her face. The enemy's voice echoed, "You truly are ever so tenacious, daughter of Tristan." Daud's eyes narrowed. "Now then, student Daud," the voice taunted. "What will you do without her strength?" Blue energy flared violently. A voice echoed, "Do you have any plans left? If not..." The air tensed. "Then die." The blast struck Daud's side. Blood erupted from his body as he staggered, struggling to stay upright. Elnor looked on in horror, frozen. Her breath caught. She couldn't move as Daud collapsed before her eyes. In her mind, the moment repeated. Her expression darkened. She remembered every promise, every reason she fought. A memory surfaced: another monster, another death. Lightning crackled. Her body tensed again, ready to act no matter the cost. The world faded to silence. Then a system message blinked, deadly charm activated. Daud's breath steadied, barely. His body shook, but he endured. A new message appeared, "Target has given you," followed by unreadable code. Elnor lunged through the air, her gaze locked onto him. No hesitation, she was fighting for him again. Daud knelt alone on cracked ground. He looked up as the power surged through him: charm, bond, survival, everything. Birds scattered into the glowing sky as a heavy breeze cut through the silent mist-covered forest of the north. Through the trees, a beast charged at full speed. Its claws tore the earth as it hunted without hesitation. Sharp fangs gleamed in the shadows. A figure stood firm, dirt-covered and bruised, eyes unshaken by the monster's roar. Far away, the capital city's towers loomed in darkness. The battle in the woods had gone unnoticed by all. Daud awakened his power. Shadow blades formed behind him. Target, vessel detected. Initiating charm link to prevent demon activation. A silver-haired woman descended gracefully. Her presence radiated danger. Daud recognized her, the demon vessel marked with crimson authority. Daud's system responded, vessel proximity 20 meters. He didn't move, only tightened his stance and watched her cautious approach. "You're not backing away," she said. Daud didn't reply. His charm skill pulsed faintly, adapting to her unique, demonic wavelength. "Human or not," he muttered. "I have a mission." His shadow blades bristled, preparing to intercept if needed. She halted mid-step. "You interest me," she whispered. Daud felt resistance waver. The charm skill was working, just not completely yet. The charm effect began to destabilize. Daud's hand shook as the demon's energy pushed violently against his control. She lunged, snarling, "Whose love is you?" Daud raised his arm, channeling raw skill to prevent a direct strike. Their powers clashed, dark tendrils slicing through the air. Daud barely stood his ground, shadow blades locking against her force. She locked eyes with him, conflicted. Daud saw a flicker of doubt. The charm wasn't fading, it was awakening something deeper. His mark glowed brighter. The system confirmed, target's hostility decreasing. Charm Stage 2 initiated. Daud's aura grew stronger, resolve unshaken. She floated silently, power swirling around her body. The atmosphere thickened. Daud braced, realizing she hadn't used full strength. "One of the strongest in the world," he muttered. "Acting so friendly to me feels Odd, his instincts warned him. Daoud stayed still. Her gaze stayed locked. Tension crackled. I don't know the future, he thought, but I need this. Suddenly, a new threat arrived. Another vessel. The system alerted. Duplication skill detected. Enemy possesses mirrored abilities and full hostility. Daoud's body trembled. Pressure overwhelmed him. It feels like my skin is tearing, he growled, sweat dripping, vision starting to blur. Just be controlled, Daoud muttered. His charm pulse stabilized. He needed her power, but under his own command. He reached toward her. Even if it's fake now, I need it to be real in the future. Suddenly she leapt away, dodging instinctively. Dust flew as her body twisted in midair, keeping perfect balance and distance. Just charming me? She growled. Her aura surged again. I'll never lose control. Her rage flared violently across the field. Daoud stayed firm. She descended fast, claws extended. I'll do more than survive, he whispered. I'll make you choose me. I'll crush you into dust, Daoud, she roared. Her form twisted into a monstrous shape, surging with chaotic energy. She slammed down with terrifying force. Blue flames erupted upward, shaking the entire battlefield. Daoud vanished under the destructive blast. She panted heavily, heart glowing red. Her breath slowed, waiting for confirmation, expecting no one could survive that impact. Suddenly, movement. Cracked ground trembled. Daoud stood back up, aura flaring stronger than before, emerging from the crater unharmed. You call that a hit? Daoud's voice echoed above. She looked up. He was floating, unscathed, staring directly into her soul. She flinched in shock. What? Her expression froze. Daoud's rising power didn't match anything she had prepared to face. From above, Daoud's red eyes glowed. His energy pulsed violently, distorting the air as blue light cracked downward. A massive burst exploded. Debris scattered everywhere. The ground ruptured under the force of his impact-driven counterattack. Dust blanketed the field. The battlefield turned silent, only faint echoes of steps and falling fragments breaking the tension. She stumbled, wide-eyed. How is this happening? Her voice trembled as her confidence shattered with each passing second. The crater lit up as Daoud emerged. His posture sharpened. He no longer seemed defensive. He was advancing now. Dangerous situation detected. Danger is life-threatening. The system's alert echoed. Daoud's heartbeat synced with the deepening red glow. Desperate survival activated as usual, Daoud muttered. The more hopeless the odds, the stronger his body became with each second. His aura ignited, crimson tendrils swirling. This skill only triggers at death's edge, he thought. So now I don't fail. The enemies recoiled. How could someone as pathetic as you? One screamed. Daoud's glowing eyes locked onto their trembling forms. Daoud soared downward, surrounded by red energy. His body aimed precisely. One strike would decide everything in this battle. The beast screamed, I'm the prophet, slayer of nations. His claws flared, trying to erase Daoud before impact landed. Too late. Red force crushed his body. Bones shattered. The prophet howled in pain as his form began collapsing. The shockwave exploded again. Sky cracked. Debris flew across the mountains. Dust blinded the horizon in every direction. Daoud stood upright, bloodied but calm. You're not a prophet, he said. You're just another stepping stone. It's over. Daoud stood wounded under a crimson sky, the battlefield echoing with silence as blood dripped down his trembling fingertips. The monster advanced, fangs bared, claws soaked in gore. Daoud clenched his teeth, prepared for another hopeless and brutal encounter. A pulse awakened deep within, violent and unknown. Black tendrils surged out, answering a silent call buried inside Daoud's soul. The world turned red. Power surged like a scream. The title burned across the void, fated to be loved by villains. Under the night sky, Daoud rose reborn. The monster hesitated. Power now answered him, not fear, but something far darker. The demon froze in disbelief. Daoud's presence felt familiar, too familiar, yet twisted with a force even more terrifyingly potent. How can you possess this power? The demon choked, clawing at his chest as Daoud's aura pressed down harder. The demon fell, impaled by shadowy roots bursting from below. Blood spilled freely. Daoud remained motionless, eyes locked forward. Years of hatred, of enduring weakness, had burned away. Now Daoud stood unshaken, controlling what once dominated him entirely. The demon struck the ground in fury. How frustrating! He roared, yet the tremble in his voice betrayed fear. The demon regained footing, snarling as system messages echoed. Daoud's stats were rising beyond known limits, rewriting combat balance entirely. Daoud advanced, Crimson veins of power crawled from his chest, pulsing wildly, as if alive, hungry, and completely under control. The demon retaliated, darkness spiraling into blue tendrils. Two forces collided, red fury against blue wrath, twisting the ground beneath their feet. Their powers surged. A roar cracked the air. Dowd's crimson assault overwhelmed the demon's guard, pushing him violently into retreat. With both forces erupting, light and shadow clashed in the air, shaking the battlefield as Dowd drove forward without hesitation. The explosion expanded outward. Red and blue energy twisted in violent shock waves, tearing through the sky with unstoppable force. Both fighters hit the ground hard, bodies battered. Dust settled, but Dowd stood first, eyes locked with burning intent. The demon's rage peaked. "Dowd, you bastard!" he screamed, blood dripping as his claws surged with unstable energy. Roaring, the demon lunged. Energy flared from his palm, aimed directly at Dowd's chest. "D!" he shouted with final fury. A radiant burst answered. Gold light crushed the demon's strike. Dowd's counter was absolute, ending the attack in a flash. The demon's eyes widened. "Divinity?" he gasped, recognizing the golden aura now radiating from Dowd's rising form. "How can you wield divinity?" he shouted, stepping back, unable to understand how a mortal possessed such sacred, forbidden power. Dowd didn't answer. His fist landed cleanly, lightning surging through the demon's jaw as the blow knocked him upward. Caught midair, the demon was dragged violently through the sky. Dowd's momentum grew, controlled and relentless in direction. The castle shattered. The demon's body slammed through the towers, screams echoing as stone crumbled and power crackled around them. The demon panicked, clutching his chest. He sensed something shift. Dowd's presence surged, power now spiraling at an unnatural rate. A final burst of crimson light erupted. Dowd struck with precision, his movement smooth and faster than the eye. His fist met the demon's chest. Red veins exploded outward, sending both hurtling across the sky with brutal force. The demon roared, rising again in anger, but Dowd's expression suddenly tightened, eyes widening as something felt terribly off. His heart dropped. A cold realization hit. His power faded fast. The skill's duration had ended, and vulnerability returned. A massive bolt of energy slammed into the structure. The ancient gate cracked, followed by the sound of something activating. The enemy scrambled. One demon pressed a hidden button, panic rising. "Good thing I didn't return it," he muttered nervously. A mechanical platform rose. Energy burst from its core, illuminating the area with light too precise to be natural. The demon roared, spotting Dowd. "Dowd, I'll tear you to shreds!" He charged with broken armor and unmatched fury, a cannon locked into place, metal groaning. The demon's rage paused, his eyes reflected sudden realization, not strength, but fear. Dowd steadied himself, gripping the cannon's trigger. "Your final words are so lame," he muttered, launching the charged shot. The demon screamed as Dowd soared toward him, encased in golden energy. The air cracked with growing heat and pressure. The strike hit, flames burst skyward. Demons below panicked, shielding themselves as the impact turned the battlefield into an inferno. Debris rained down. "Is it over?" someone whispered. Another voice answered shakily, "It has to be." Nothing survived that. Above the quiet town, lights danced. Dowd watched alone, knowing this peace came with a price only he understood. Dowd stared at the lights above. "What? I get all of this?" he whispered, trying to understand everything gained. He reflected quietly. Am I getting better rewards because I triggered the narrative properly? The thought left him conflicted. The night sky shimmered. He knew he'd eventually have to choose between power or safety, progress or peace. But for now, he muttered, the war on this town isn't over. Footsteps approached, breaking his thoughts instantly. A woman stood firm. Normorantatu, student head. Explain everything, she demanded. Dowd sighed, already sensing trouble brewing again. She stared him down, eyes cold with resolve. Explain what you've done. Why the demon chose to dwell in you. His heart pounded beneath the stars. I don't understand. But deep down, he feared she already knew everything. The sky shimmered above their confrontation. She didn't blink. You've involved yourself with the demon, haven't you? Tell me now. In another place, a girl barely clung to life. Not yet. I'll find it soon, she whispered through pain. The blood bag drained slowly, her vision blurred. What you're looking for, it's under 50. Her voice trembled faintly. She lay motionless, surrounded by wires and blood. The machine beeped steadily as her strength slipped further every second. Her eyes cracked open, red with desperation. Damn it. Why isn't the priest coming? I don't have much time. Meanwhile, the woman adjusted her lens calmly. One of the gray demon's authorities is corruption. It's already begun. She gestured at the map calmly. It happened near you. The Inquisition and even the royal family will react. Her gaze sharpened. You've unknowingly become the eye of the storm. Everyone will be watching your next move closely. She questioned sharply. Did you know it would go this far? He stayed silent, gaze steady despite the pressure. I've already stopped living like an extra, he thought. This world changed, and I won't stand back anymore. Her eye narrowed. You formed ties with a demon. That changes everything. He replied, honestly, I just got lucky. She stood, calm but alert. The gray demon, strongest ruler of Pandemonium. This isn't something we can ignore. His heart sank. It's presumed that the gray demon chose Student Council President Elnore as its current vessel. He winced in pain, bandaged tightly. Chancellor, I was already aware. She turned. My apologies for that. She spoke gently. Thank you for protecting Elnore and the school. He nodded slightly, unsure what would come next. You might be tense, she said, watching him rise. However, please focus. What I'm about to say is confidential. She leaned closer. During the last war in Pandemonium, the demon fragments were scattered. One crossed into our world. His breath caught. The rest, she continued, will gravitate toward that fragment's human host. That person is now the center. Dowd Campbell rested quietly, unaware that powerful forces stirred. Velian watched him, her thoughts already preparing for the coming chaos. She rose from the chair, recalling the critical event about to unfold. The Empire would soon face a brutal turning point. A demonic commander, feared across nations, had broken her silence. Flames marked her return, threatening to reshape the continent's balance. Velian predicted mass destruction. Cities, armies, even nobles would crumble. But this chaos might finally shift public favor toward Dowd Campbell's path. Looking down at Dowd Campbell, she whispered silently he must be ready. This time, history would bow to the will of the unexpected. The red-eyed woman spoke confidently. She was gathering powerful beings at the academy, all part of a larger, hidden goal. Velian sat in silence, thinking. Bringing so many dangerous individuals together could easily spiral into a disaster beyond control. Dowd Campbell murmured about love, how even demons once fell, blinded by affection, only to bring ruin with their devotion. A memory surfaced, an ancient demon's embrace igniting destruction. Love turned deadly, and history repeated with blood and betrayal every time. Dowd Campbell snapped back to reality. Doesn't matter to me, he thought, but of course, it always starts like this. Dowd Campbell looked concerned as Velian remarked the gray demon seemed to favor him more than expected, an unusual, risky situation. Flustered, Dowd Campbell quickly denied it, insisting there was no special connection. Velian remained calm, unconvinced by his defensive reaction. She recalled everything clearly. The demon healed his wounds and helped him. That kind of care wasn't just coincidence. Elsewhere, a powerful female student studied in the sun. Her presence hinted she might be another critical piece in play. Dowd Campbell was reminded again his strength, decisions, and awareness were already noticed and approved even by forces beyond human understanding. Dowd Campbell flinched from the sudden contact. He couldn't understand why everything kept escalating despite his cautious behavior. Velian leaned close, teasing him again. Dowd Campbell panicked, worried her affection would stir more misunderstandings among already sensitive individuals. To his horror, a group of strong, elite students began to gather, each one harboring intense feelings and sharp instincts. Every dangerous woman he'd interacted with now stood together, tension rising. This wasn't coincidence, it was a situation spiraling fast. Dowd Campbell froze, overwhelmed. Wait, how did I end up surrounded by people like this? His peaceful plans were falling apart. Dowd Campbell had done the unthinkable, united powerful threats. Now, Velian believed he could be the one to change everything. She spoke with conviction. His influence could guide demons, villains, and heroes toward peace. He just needed to keep going. Dowd Campbell raised an eyebrow. Didn't this start with you saying it was about love? He questioned her shifting narrative. Velian softened. Even if reasons changed, her request stood. Only he had the chance to prevent total destruction ahead. As she bowed deeply, Dowd Campbell stared in disbelief. Everything sounded too big. His only thought, I want to log out. Dowd Campbell hesitated, asking the Chancellor what failure meant. What if he couldn't win them over? What would happen then? The answer was blunt. If he failed, the world would fall, humanity would vanish, and demons would seize complete control. Dowd Campbell imagined the outcome. Demons in power, peace gone. All because of this twisted system. He muttered, I hate developers. The sunlight crept through the curtains. casting a glow over a carefully arranged bouquet placed beside the bed. With a quiet groan, the silver-haired figure stirred, eyes fluttering open as confusion settled in her gaze. Elnor sat up slowly, blinking at the unfamiliar room bathed in morning light, her heart thudding in uncertainty. "Where am I?" she murmured, trying to recall how she ended up in this pristine, luxurious bed. Just then, muffled voices echoed someone trying to enter. She braced herself as the door handle began to turn. The woman outside entered, muttering about recovery delays. She stopped mid-sentence, surprised to see the silver-haired girl awake. The girl raised an eyebrow and smiled faintly. "You skipped class?" she asked, catching the visitor completely off guard. Panicked, the woman rushed to her bedside, torn between scolding and hugging. "What do I even do with you?" Tears welled up. "I thought you were dead. Do you even know how badly you were injured?" Elsewhere, a bloodied young man collapsed against rubble, gasping. His body was torn, but his eyes burned with determination. She steadied herself and asked calmly, "What happened to Daud?" Her voice trembled, but her eyes searched for truth. The woman hesitated before responding. "Daud? He's already been discharged. He wasn't seriously hurt." "Discharged?" she repeated, confused. Her fingers tightened against the sheets as she processed the unexpected news. "You were the one severely injured." "Everyone thought you'd die," the woman continued, avoiding her gaze with a hint of guilt. "I was that badly hurt." "But Daud was unharmed?" she murmured, suspicion beginning to stir behind her puzzled expression. 2 days earlier, she lay unconscious, surrounded by wires and silence, her breath steady but her condition uncertain and fragile. Worried, the woman whispered, "She's been like this for 2 days. If she never wakes up again." A younger student clutched flowers tightly. "Don't worry, senior, she'll be back. People like her don't disappear so easily." The woman stepped away from the bed, asking, "How can you be so sure she'll return to us?" The boy looked up, calm and determined. "Because I survived. She wouldn't fall before protecting someone like me." The woman reviewed the report calmly. "You'll be exempt from exams. It's the least we can do right now." She smiled, adding, "Now that you're awake, many people want to see you, especially someone in particular." The girl blinked slowly. "I'm still not fully sure I know who I am after everything that's happened." Far away, a mysterious woman stood confidently atop a spire. The wind blew strongly around her armored figure. Back in the room, she frowned. "Why do I keep seeing that woman? What does she want from me?" "You were unconscious for 2 days," the woman explained. "You should have seen the energy burst during the last attack. We believe that force came from someone protecting you," she added, handing over a report with trembling hands. Who is it?" she asked, reading the name. The answer was quiet but heavy. Soon, a vision hit her suddenly, a monstrous beast, a red-cloaked warrior standing firm with blade drawn against the darkness. Her eyes widened as recognition struck. "Father," she whispered, staring blankly ahead as the image burned in her mind. Morning light bathed the peaceful city, its streets bustling, unaware of the secrets stirring behind its calm exterior. A title appeared signaling a new chapter in the unfolding tale, heavy with destiny and uncertain intentions. Somewhere inside, a shadowed figure stared from a window. "This city is so unreal," he muttered. "Please close the window." A golden-haired woman frowned. "The light is unpleasant." Her tone was cold, as if daylight itself annoyed her existence. "That's funny," he replied. "You speak of brightness like it's painful. Life in a chapel must have been darker than this." A quiet voice spoke. "You would think the same." Her words carried weight, though her expression remained calm. The prince hesitated. "Isn't the conversation taking a dark turn, Saintess?" He tried to shift the mood gently. She closed her eyes and spoke softly. "Please close the window." Her tone was firm, almost demanding. "Aid," the prince replied, eyes narrowing. "I wish to bathe in this peace for a bit longer." "Peace?" she echoed sharply. "A demon worshipper and the Saintess are in one room, and you speak of peace?" The boy smirked, mocking her words. "You say that, but you don't seem very saintly sitting there, Saintess." She glanced sideways, cold and calm. "If peace is such a joke to you, I'll show you fear." Darkness surged beneath her feet. Shadows writhed unnaturally as she rose, her presence shifting the room's entire atmosphere. The boy stood silent, staring at the mass of creeping terror slowly emerging from beneath her chair. "I don't need light to prove strength," she said, conjuring magic. "Not when darkness responds to my voice." She looked ahead calmly. "Think whatever you want, Valkasus. At the very least, I have my own reason." The memory of a smiling girl carrying apples flashed before her eyes. "I have someone I must protect, always."
Summer approached, and the academy's grand building stood quietly under the bright morning sun's watchful gaze. Inside, Dowd focused on his work, the room filled with the soft rustle of papers turning. Meanwhile, the instructor prepared lessons, adjusting schedules as the busy harvest season drew closer for many families. Dowd's thoughts lingered on the upcoming event, unsure what surprises awaited during the parents' observation day. He aimed to remain unnoticed, blending into the middle ranks while keeping a peaceful, uneventful school life. Dowd dashed forward, wooden planks echoing underfoot as a sharp cry rang out across the courtyard. Nearby students marched past, their gazes briefly shifting toward Dowd's hurried movements before returning to casual conversation. Two uniformed peers stood together, their presence radiating a silent reminder to maintain composure and avoid disruption. One offered a teasing remark about future vacations, subtly suggesting certain personal milestones were long overdue. Sunlight framed the distant towers as Dowd absorbed his father's message, a rare softness warming his thoughts. Dowd scanned the letter with relief, thankful the upcoming event would not require an awkward reunion. Across the table, Herman adjusted his glasses, introducing himself with a confident expression and upbeat demeanor. He assured his willingness to assist, speaking with the certainty of someone used to solving problems. Herman presented a small gift of grapes, their rich purple hue gleaming in the afternoon light. Dowd watched the relaxed scene unfold, realizing how swiftly peaceful days could transform into lively, bustling moments. Dowd quietly offered grapes to Herman, suggesting a closer display of camaraderie for their upcoming plans. Herman reluctantly complied, chewing slowly while remarking on his apparent need for endless endurance training. Dowd's mind drifted to the Chancellor's startling request, a mission that defied reason and demanded delicate influence. The request urged him to charm every demon vessel, a daunting challenge tied to humanity's survival, signaling the start of a critical stage involving Elnor Tristan's cursed inheritance. A new mission target emerged, Gideon Tristan marking the beginning of another dangerous stage in Dowd's path. Concerns about survival overshadowed distant goals, as looming threats promised conflicts without a clear resolution. The system announced a main quest involving a ruins king, aligning with a formidable Chapter 2 challenge. Dowd contemplated the final boss's presence, realizing his lack of prior connection in the original storyline. Under the warm sun, Gideon spoke casually, unaware of Dowd's knowledge of his grim canonical fate. Elnor stood over Gideon's fallen form, the battlefield quiet except for the distant rustle of wind. Memories surfaced of the event that once awakened the Grey Demon, now altered by Gideon's survival. Nearby, concern spread as Dowd's condition drew uneasy glances, his presence disrupted by the unfolding situation. Dowd realized Gideon's survival meant the storyline could now shift unpredictably, defying the events he once knew. Elnor's gaze fixed on Gideon with determination, resolved to confront him directly despite the changed circumstances. Dowd hesitated to engage, yet recognized the necessity of gathering crucial information from Gideon. Pain surged unexpectedly, drawing attention from those nearby and disrupting the quiet moment in the courtyard. Talon intervened, defending Dowd's position and dismissing assumptions about his capability in confrontational situations. Dowd requested to borrow Talon's weapon, signaling intent to take direct action without delay. Talon offered the sword eagerly, though Dowd calmly declined, preferring to return it without using it. Elnor offered to teach Dowd swordsmanship, recognizing the value of close combat skills for survival. Dowd expressed interest in learning the Tristan family's techniques, even starting with foundational basics. Elnor considered the request seriously, noting it was the first time he had directly asked her. Dowd planned to use the lesson as an opportunity to memorize and replicate the sword technique. Elnor raised her blade confidently, knowing her mastery of swordsmanship was her most persuasive strength. A classmate noticed Elnor preparing to teach, surprised by the rare sight of her offering lessons. It was revealed Dowd had personally requested the training, sparking curiosity about his combat preferences. Questions arose about Dowd's use of both hands in combat, though he dismissed the concern. Elnor emphasized that weapon type was irrelevant compared to the principles she intended to teach. Another suggested Dowd receive additional lessons from a former assistant professor to maximize his progress. Elnor advanced with steady steps, her sword emanating a controlled yet unmistakable surge of power. Another participant readied their stance, recognizing the significant skill gap that would shape the outcome. Confidence radiated as she acknowledged her opponent's awareness, knowing victory was nearly certain from the start. Spectators watched closely, noting how effortlessly she adapted to the opponent's movements with precise technique. A sudden burst of energy erupted between them, drawing surprised reactions from the gathered onlookers. Dowd observed the red-haired warrior tighten her grip, her focused gaze revealing readiness for the imminent clash. The white-haired officer adjusted her stance, blade steady, every movement calculated to counter her opponent's aggressive advance. From the sidelines, Dodd and another observer realized the confrontation had escalated far quicker than they had expected. With a sudden leap, the red-haired warrior descended swiftly. The white-haired officer shifted her footing, anticipating the attack. The red-haired warrior rinsed fiercely toward her opponent, her body coiled with energy and precision in motion. The white-haired officer stood her ground, calmly analyzing every movement. A swift blade cut through the air, passing dangerously close as the officer narrowly evaded the strike. The red-haired warrior's eyes sharpened, realizing her attack had failed. With controlled strength, the officer struck upward, his weapon ready, eyes narrowing at the sudden surge of hostile magical energy. Purple arcs of power erupted, forcing him to shift his footing, deflecting the force while maintaining his defensive stance under relentless magical pressure. His counterattack sliced forward, breaking through the air, eyes locked on him, preparing for the next decisive exchange, her weapon glowing with energy as she charged her opponent. Recalling the truth about Elnor's lineage and the dangerous legacy tied to demons, he recognized her strength, yet understood that her noble blood could not shield her from corruption. Aware that the demon's influence would eventually overpower her will completely. On a burning battlefield, he realized the inevitable. Whether she accepted it or not, corruption would prevail. The red-haired warrior's expression hardened, her stance radiating determination as fiery power began gathering within. She lunged forward, flames erupting around her blade. With unyielding momentum, she unleashed her attack. The fiery arc tore through the battlefield. Dodd watched in surprise, his eyes widening as he grasped the magnitude of her destructive potential. The white-haired officer studied her opponent's silence, sensing the inner turmoil hidden beneath the composed exterior. She remarked on the lack of control, recognizing the dangerous influence emotions had on battle precision. A surge of violet energy clashed with roaring flame. The red-haired warrior staggered back, surprised by the counter. Dodd observed closely, astonished at her swift reaction, acknowledging the officer's unmatched speed and decisive execution in combat. The white-haired officer walked steadily through the burning field, her presence unshaken despite the chaos around her. She surveyed the scorched ground, questioning if Elnor had already begun merging with the dangerous artifact's essence. Acknowledging the warrior's effort, she noted the need for improved control and refined weapon handling before advancement. Her words carried caution, reminding Elnor that reckless actions could easily endanger allies in the heat of battle. Nearby, Dodd knelt on the ground, scanning the battlefield in confusion, wondering where his opponent had gone. The tall pines swayed gently, masking the urgency building. He exhaled slowly, resolving that hesitation would only waste precious time needed to strengthen himself for survival. His path was clear. He needed holy energy alongside skill, as pure swordsmanship alone would not suffice. With determination, Dodd prepared to seek new training, aware that mattering holy power was now essential. Before he could begin, a familiar voice approached from behind, breaking his focused thoughts without warning. Dodd approached calmly, his masked gaze fixed on the woman ahead, noting her healthy and composed appearance. She froze mid-bite, eyes widening in shock. Yoria Greyhounder lunged forward with a massive weapon, her stance revealing deadly intent and years of training. The monstrous lunged forward, its twisted form reeking of death. Far away, the sun sank beneath the horizon. Among heaps of skeletal remains, cold hands reached from the dark, clawing at her trembling, fleeing form. A chained figure emerged, eyes burning with malice, radiating a suffocating pressure that made her stumble. Before her, a blade hung suspended in crimson flames, the ground littered with bones of the fallen. Chains rattled violently as the blood-stained blade swayed, its edge glinting under the dim, oppressive light. A droplet of blood drifted downward, spinning slowly before striking the ground with a sharp, echoing splash. Wide eyes reflected shock as crimson spread across pale skin. Blood pooled beneath the lifeless form, seeping into the cracked earth. With sudden force, the body twisted upward, cold eyes glared forward, voice heavy with scorn, delivering a judgment that pierced deeper than any blade. A shadowed silhouette loomed, presence suffocating. The name echoed sharply, igniting a spark of recognition that widened the captive's gaze with sudden clarity. Heart racing as instinct screamed to move before danger struck again. Light flooded the space, revealing scattered crates as the exhausted body lay motionless upon the cold floorboard. Sunlight filtered through leaves as a ripe fruit hung temptingly, swaying gently in the warm afternoon breeze. Biting into the crisp flesh, sweetness burst across the tongue. A basket brimmed with freshly picked harvest. A brief glance upward caught the orchard's gentle beauty. Footsteps sounded behind, halting the steady walk as an unexpected voice cut through the quiet forest path. Eyes widened in sudden realization as danger surged closer. Chains whistled sharply through the air, the weapon arced downward, wielded with precision. Steel clashed violently, ringing out across the open field as each fighter held their ground with unwavering resolve. Momentum shifted as a counterforce sent the opponents staggering back. Blades clashed mid-air, sparks scattering as both combatants twisted. Momentum shifted violently, sending one fighter hurtling backward through the air, chains whipping dangerously in every direction. The other spun mid-flight, regaining balance while eyes locked forward. Steel whistled as the chain's weighted end carved through the air. A faint smirk formed, confidence brimming as the stance tightened. Chains retracted quickly, skimming over the ground as tension lingered in the air. Boots pounded against the dirt path, each step carrying urgency toward an unknown but necessary destination. Eyes locked forward, thoughts racing to assess the situation. Several ripe fruits rested on the ground, freshly gathered, their presence suggesting careful preparation for future needs. A small collection of supplies was arranged neatly, enough to sustain travel for the next several days. She stepped forward steadily, loosening the weapon's chain while lowering her burden toward the ground with care. Her gaze shifted, recalling unspoken questions lingering between them, each thought weighed by moments left unanswered. A shadowed memory surfaced, pressing heavily on her mind, carrying a truth avoided but never forgot. The recollection formed into chilling words, a warning tied to fate, meant to isolate her forever. The past's voice resounded clearly, branding her as cursed and condemned to solitude until her final breath. The words settled heavily as she stood still, recognizing there was no choice but to accept reality. Parting words lingered in the air, leaving a faint unease as the figure disappeared from sight. Memories overlapped with warnings from the past, each one reinforcing the danger of misplaced trust. Before her lay a spread of food, arranged neatly. She reached for the bread. Hunger, the weapon rested silently nearby, its chain coiled loosely. Hands held the bread firmly, the quiet moment briefly easing the tension that lingered from earlier events. A faint smile appeared as she gripped the loaf, determined to endure despite the unspoken warning remembered. Dodd Campbell noticed the strange notification, realizing his connection with the dangerous Uria Greyhounder had deepened unexpectedly. Curiosity urged him to check the reward, hoping it might aid his survival in this treacherous world. He carefully placed the item aside, deciding to wake Herman, whose careless habits often led to trouble. Today's observation class drew nobles and merchants, making Dodd determined to showcase his progress and protect his standing. Herman finally stirred, urging Dodd to leave quickly, as their awaited moment in the Grand Hall approached. Dodd prepared for the day's challenge, focusing on a single individual who could alter his plans. The academy grounds filled with nobles, merchants, and guards, signaling the significance of the observation class ahead. Visitors exchanged formalities, armored escorts maintaining vigilance as unfamiliar faces blended into the high-profile gathering without hesitation. Speculation grew regarding distant guests, some claiming famed knights from other regions might appear among the attendees. Rumors suggested influential figures from beyond the continent, raising tension and uncertainty for the unfolding day's proceeding. At the center of the arena stood the examiner, renowned for unmatched strength and years of battle experience. Spectators noticed an unfamiliar participant, murmuring in surprise at the presence of someone absent from previous public events. The newcomer's composed stance and sharp gaze hinted at formidable skill, though his past remained shrouded in secrecy. A massive ornate sword rested nearby, its presence a silent testament to the wielder's reputation and strength. Among the crowd, Dodd observed quietly, analyzing each movement and calculating potential outcomes for the coming demonstration. Gideon recognized a familiar face among the participants. The two exchanged observations, each noting the other's current pursuits and reasons for attending the gathering. Conversation shifted to training progress, with Valtador mentioning his adherence to methods documented in ancient records. He revealed a significant milestone, claiming the rigorous regimen demanded overcoming seemingly insurmountable physical challenges. Gideon absorbed the statement, acknowledging the difficulty while considering its implications for Valtador's future performance and growth. The announcer's voice rang out, signaling that the much-anticipated Battle Royale event was about to commence. Only volunteer freshmen would participate, with professional trainers and medical teams prepared to ensure safety during combat. Spectators observed closely, noting the unusual strength and determination displayed by this year's freshman participants. Participants would receive wooden replicas of their preferred weapons before entering the designated combat zone. Among the crowd, nervous competitors steeled themselves, determined to prove their worth in the upcoming trials. Dodd stood amidst the crowd, contemplating his decision to participate in the upcoming challenging battle. Opponents gathered across the arena, their presence amplifying the pressure and competitive atmosphere surrounding the event. The announcer reminded participants to collect wooden practice weapons before proceeding into the designated combat zone. Elnora approached Dodd, questioning his decision to enter despite the clear risks involved. Dodd prepared his chosen weapon, mentally readying himself for the unpredictable encounters awaiting within the arena. The participant firmly grasped the weapon's handle. Their fingertip traced the weapon's grip briefly. Victory required being the final standing participant, with additional points awarded for high-ranking placements. From the sidelines, Herman urged Dodd to aim for the top 10 in the match. Dodd searched the stands for Gideon, focusing his attention solely on drawing that important observer's notice. Elnora silently assured herself of Dodd's safety, prepared to intervene if circumstances took a dangerous turn. A lone competitor stepped into view, framed by the massive gates leading into the combat arena. Her focused expression and confident stance suggested readiness for the competition awaiting beyond. Gideon observed quietly, evaluating each participant's potential before the match began. The announcer signaled the start, instructing all participants to ready themselves for the upcoming challenge. The signal was given, and participants surged forward, marking the official start of the chaotic match. Magic and weapons clashed immediately, as competitors sought to eliminate rivals in the opening moments. Dodd navigated the battlefield, intercepting attacks while maintaining awareness of multiple approaching threats. Swords meeting in a swift exchange as they fought for immediate advantage. Weapons collided with force, each strike testing strength and endurance in the rapidly intensifying duel. Dodd faced his opponent directly, recognizing the seriousness in the other's eyes as the duel intensified. Their swords clashed repeatedly, each strike carrying force intended to overwhelm. A momentary pause allowed both fighters to reassess, neither willing to reveal weakness in this contest. The duel was interrupted as another combatant entered, prompting Dodd's system to flag a dangerous situation. The newcomer attacked with speed, forcing Dodd into a defensive maneuver against the sudden combined assault. Dodd's eyes widened in shock upon recognizing Lilu, her sudden appearance disrupting his concentration mid-battle. Lilu's confident expression and stance made her challenge clear, provoking Dodd to engage her without hesitation. Dodd was yanked backward by the sudden force, his balance breaking as debris scattered around them. His eyes locked on the approaching figure, the distinctive tattoo marking her as someone dangerous and skilled. Determined to protect those nearby, Dodd steadied himself, muscles tense, preparing for the inevitable clash ahead. The observers froze in shock, recognizing the figure's notorious reputation and the unsettling confidence in her movements. She advanced with measured steps, her presence radiating intent, every stride bringing her closer to her chosen target. Dodd assessed the opponent's shifting stance, recognizing the enhanced speed and strength granted by tribal arts. He clenched his fist, calculating that even with his survival skill active, victory was far from certain. The clash unfolded rapidly, his movements driven by instinct as he shielded others from the incoming attack. Observers questioned his presence, wondering how he managed to intervene against such a formidable and unexpected challenger. Determined, his ally vowed to secure victory, urging Dodd toward the objective as the battle pressed on. Talon intercepted the path, standing firmly to prevent any approach toward the designated target ahead. Accepting the challenge, Talon tightened grip on the weapon, signaling intent to engage without reservation. Dodd's combat skill activated, significantly enhancing reaction speed and accuracy for the upcoming exchange. A sharp look from the blue-haired combatant conveyed determination, reinforcing the urgency of survival. The adversary's sudden strike cut the distance rapidly, forcing Dodd into immediate defensive movement, eyes widening as the sudden force disrupted his stance mid-engagement. The opponent unleashed a burst of energy, sending a shockwave radiating across the arena floor. Dodd was propelled forward by the impact, narrowly maintaining control amid the chaotic surge. Talon attempted to parry the incoming strike but was caught off guard by its unexpected trajectory. Dodd's follow-up attack struck cleanly, the force amplified by the precision granted through his enhanced technique. Dodd surveyed the aftermath, bodies scattered across the arena as the dust slowly began to settle. The blue-haired combatant approached confidently, remarking on Dodd's earlier hesitation during the intense exchange. Dodd analyzed the distance, knowing his current speed was insufficient to counter a direct strike. His gaze fixed on the advancing opponent, calculating potential openings despite overwhelming disadvantage. With a burst of energy, the clash resumed, Dodd bracing for impact against the incoming force. The opponent advanced rapidly, unleashing a flurry of powerful strikes aimed directly at Dodd's defense. Dodd absorbed the impact, realizing he couldn't afford unnecessary movements in the current situation. He halted abruptly, voice cutting through the arena as he declared his decision to forfeit. The announcement drew surprise from onlookers, their attention shifting entirely toward the unexpected surrender. The blue-haired combatant questioned the choice, but Dowd calmly insisted on ending the engagement immediately. The crowd erupted in mixed reactions, some mocking Dowd while others praised his calculated decision. Ignoring the jeers, Dowd descended the steps, knowing further engagement offered no realistic chance of success. The announcer declared a winner, only to retract as another significant confrontation began unfolding. Observers sensed tension rising, recognizing the incoming challenger's hostility toward a rival from the Empire. The enraged combatant charged forward, demanding answers while releasing an overwhelming surge of aggression toward the target. Dowd spoke with a confident smile, certain his earlier actions had been the right choice. The reaction from across the table was unexpected, momentarily breaking the flow of the discussion. Dowd maintained composure, choosing his words carefully to avoid unnecessary conflict during the exchange. Dowd's eyes are sharp and focused, showing alertness and readiness while he listens. The silver-haired counterpart responded calmly, clarifying intentions and offering a neutral perspective on the matter. Dowd steadied his breathing, determined to keep the discussion under control and follow his intended approach. The inquiry struck directly, questioning the origin of Dowd's sword technique with unmistakable precision. A memory of battle resurfaced, the familiar form of the technique confirming the suspicion held by the other. The demand for an answer carried weight, pressing Dowd to reveal a truth he wished concealed. Dowd maintained a composed gaze, concealing his unease to avoid revealing any weakness in the tense exchange. Dowd recognized the formidable presence before him, knowing any sign of weakness would jeopardize his position. The questioning continued, referencing the unexpected spread of renowned sword techniques across distant locations. Dowd urged belief in his words, fabricating a convincing explanation to protect his true sword. The response labeled his claim as intriguing, prompting him to expand the fabricated narrative further. Maintaining steady composure, Dowd asserted the lie with precision, masking the truth beneath calculated confidence. A cloaked presence recalled receiving an important task, one that carried significant weight and responsibility. Archduke Tristan acknowledged the connection, offering direct instruction in mastering the disciplined art of the sword. Inside the lavish chamber, Dowd faced the imposing figure, knowing this meeting would decide his direction. Suspicion lingered in the man's eyes, testing Dowd's conviction as silence stretched uncomfortably between them. Dowd's steady answer confirmed his willingness, showing courage despite uncertainty surrounding the role he now embraced. Approval came quickly. The man's brief acknowledgement sealed Dowd's new path. Later, standing alone, Dowd reflected on burdens ahead, determined to endure trials demanded by his choice. Dowd faced the powerful noble, recognizing him instantly as Elnor's father, whose reputation carried countless rumors. He studied the man's presence, realizing his strength was immeasurable, far beyond any opponent Dowd had faced. The silence pressed heavily, revealing the man's intent. Dowd knew every word spoken was carefully tested. Nervous yet composed, Dowd clenched his hand. Unexpectedly, the noble shifted slightly, his motion sharp and deliberate, leaving Dowd uncertain of the outcome. Dowd froze as crimson eyes locked onto him, the weight of unseen killing intent pressing relentlessly downward. A sudden strike shattered the air, furniture splintering apart as Dowd barely moved fast enough to react. His body trembled at the demonstration. The overwhelming technique carried lethal force capable of cutting without weapons. Shapeless blade revealed itself, an ability renowned for slicing through objects effortlessly. Dowd's mind raced. This power belonged to the final vessel, yet displayed casually, terrifying in its implications. Dowd steadied his breathing, senses sharpening as pressure thickened, signaling another strike was imminent. A sudden force erupted, shattering the floor, each impact echoing violent power impossible for ordinary human. Dowd's eyes widened, realization striking this overwhelming energy surpassed everything he had previously endured. The crimson force lashed outward violently, tearing across space with ferocity, threatening to consume all surrounding. He analyzed carefully, recognizing the technique's strength but also sensing instability that betrayed its incompleteness. The crimson gaze pierced deeply, questioning Dowd's resolve, forcing him to confront the weight of expectation. A worn journal lay open, its pages filled with detailed records of arduous training and discipline. Within those writings, each method described countless hardships endured to forge unmatched strength across generations. Dowd listened carefully, unsettled as the goal he pursued was revealed as perilous and consuming. From the shadows, cloaked in authority, carrying knowledge that would soon reshape destiny, the cloaked master advised apprentices to focus on fundamentals, reminding them difficult journeys required patient endurance. Determination filled the successor's eyes as he accepted the challenge, declaring commitment to cutting the sea. Rotational movement was emphasized again, a principle vital for controlling strength and producing precise destructive strikes. Dowd listened attentively, realizing true mastery demanded clarity of focus and flawless execution in every motion. The lesson concluded with emphasis on applying stronger rotational force, leaving Dowd silently contemplating the difficult path. Eyes closed, focus sharpened, concentration deepened until energy began forming golden strands of power surged outward, weaving brilliantly, surrounding the space with overwhelming controlled precision. Chandelier above shattered violently, fragments scattering. Observers widened their eyes. Astonished, Dowd stood firmly, power fading slowly, leaving silence behind as expectations weighed heavier than before. Dowd smiled faintly, downplaying himself while masking intentions, presenting only sincere concern for Gideon's strength. The document rested on the desk, its presence heavy, carrying authority beyond ordinary noble privileges. Dowd studied the seal carefully, realizing it granted protection from punishment, immunity against imperial retribution. The crest symbolized binding power, marking Dowd's position as shielded under imperial command and law. Meanwhile, Gideon carried the emperor's burden, an executioner bound to duty, forced to obey orders. Dowd evaluated the seal carefully, noting its usefulness for maintaining progress in the upcoming second chapter. Nearby, a companion remained asleep peacefully. Unaware, Dowd continued reviewing strategies and preparing vital plans. The bracelet's guidance ability shimmered faintly, unlocking temporary access to advanced skills during critical circumstances. Dowd's gaze shifted toward the window, timing aligned perfectly, reinforcing confidence in his ongoing preparations. Seated silently, Dowd organized documents, his resolve hardened as he planned the next decisive step. Dowd closed his notes, uncertain if his preparations would truly withstand the difficult trials approaching soon. Though challenges loomed, he remembered Gideon's promise, trusting the responsibility would not fall on him alone. A memory of the Tristan family surfaced, their smiles reinforcing Dowd's determination to safeguard their future. From a distance, Gideon stood silently, burdened by duty, while Dowd resolved firmly to protect them. Symbols glowed faintly across the surface, revealing hidden structures that contrasted against conventional magic's familiar patterns. Observers leaned closer, noting the unusual resonance spreading outward, whispering of mechanisms not fully understood before. The hall filled quickly, footsteps echoing sharply, drawing countless gazes toward the mysterious phenomenon commanding attention. Murmurs spread among seated listeners, tension rising as rumors of unnatural disturbances circulated without clear answers. Unexpected presences radiated strength, sharp eyes scanning the scene, confirming dangerous forces silently converged within that space. Pressure grew heavier inside the chamber, forcing concentration as countless calculations demanded sharper control and precision. Determined thoughts hardened, yet unease lingered, recognizing this environment thrived on constant tension without offering relief. The lecture dragged longer than expected, leaving scattered notes behind as frustrated minds abandoned lingering unanswered questions. Within empty silence, papers remained untouched, reminding that challenges persisted even after gatherings had already dispersed. Resolute footsteps echoed firmly beyond the doors, carrying ambition forward despite difficulties left unresolved within earlier discussions. Frustration lingered as footsteps carried determination forward, unaware of the unexpected presence waiting beyond sight. The door burst violently, shaking walls as overwhelming force collided, shattering calmness into chaos without warning. Shock spread instantly, realizing escape was impossible as overpowering energy radiated stronger than anything previously encountered. Authority pressed down mercilessly, every motion crushed beneath dominance, leaving resistance futile against unrelenting superior strength. Pain overwhelmed senses, body collapsing under pressure, acknowledging defeat while determination still smoldered quietly within weakened spirit. Chaos erupted as accusations echoed loudly, disbelief fueling anger while threats intensified within the grand hall. Authority advanced decisively, presenting commands without hesitation, declaring punishment inevitable and resistance meaningless under looming judgment. Fear tightened expression, realizing no escape remained, desperation growing heavier with every unrelenting step approaching closer. Confusion deepened, questions unanswered, while shadows revealed silent observers whose hidden influence shaped unfolding accusations powerfully. Unyielding presence declared justice inevitable, confidence radiating strongly, ensuring fate was already sealed regardless of defiance. Interrogation pressed deeper, suspicions heavy, demanding answers, while silence only thickened the oppressive atmosphere around. Evidence surfaced relentlessly, revealing hidden connections that tied dangerous activities directly back toward his involvement. Desperation fueled denial, attempting to cast blame elsewhere, yet trembling words betrayed fear beneath forced confidence. Authorities' demands struck harder, tightening focus, insisting on truth while rejecting excuses that faltered beneath scrutiny. Resistance shattered instantly, as force silenced arrogance, proving dominance undeniable, leaving nothing but stunned submission afterward. Dowd's face bled heavily, yet he endured, forcing defiance despite punishment pressing harder without mercy. Weak words escaped trembling lips, his desperate attempt naming false allies, betraying fear hidden beneath arrogance. A blade hovered dangerously, movements deliberate, making tension rise higher with each silent, calculated gesture displayed. Sudden light enveloped Dowd, unfamiliar warmth spreading, leaving his weakened body frozen, confusion overpowering, fading resistance. Relief replaced dread as Dowd realized healing hands steadied him, guidance urging discipline and practice constantly. Dowd remained bound tightly, fury boiling as accusations mounted, his struggles only worsening against relentless pressure. Calm assessment followed, suspicions deeper, determined to uncover truth hidden beneath deceptive fragments scattered carelessly before. Energy flared violently, Dowd's body shaking, crimson force surging uncontrollably, threatening to shatter fragile restraints instantly. Curiosity rose from observers, confusion mixing with intrigue as unexpected strength manifested suddenly from weakened prisoner. Conflict erupted swiftly, Dowd lunging forward desperately, resistance clashing head-on, while his captors pressed harder unrelentingly. A devastating strike landed cleanly, sending Dowd crashing backward. Blood sprayed violently, his body staggering under impact. The structure trembled violently, dust filling the air. Elsewhere, concern stirred as sharp ears caught distant noises, suspicion rising about hidden conflicts unfolding nearby. Scattered documents littered the floor, revealing crucial evidence, as tense questions sought clarity from shaken silence. Dowd collapsed hard, body trembling, every breath shallow as pain dragged him closer toward unconscious defeat. Observers hesitated, their work seemingly complete, preparing to end matters quickly before interruptions could arise. A voice halted everything, curiosity piqued by an unexpected declaration of inexperience that shifted attention dramatically. Memories stirred in another's mind, past reflections surfacing quietly, recognizing value hidden beneath seemingly fragile potential. Dowd steadied himself, bowing respectfully, prepared to meet newfound authority, whose recognition could reshape his future. A foreboding voice resonated deeply, binding fate with conditions that carried consequences too severe to ignore. Dowd lowered himself respectfully, acknowledging power before him, though unease gnawed silently at his determination inside. The warning grew sharper, each word pressing harder, ensuring survival depended on unwavering loyalty and remembrance. A veiled gaze pierced through the silence, radiating dominance, shaping destiny with dangerous certainty unspoken. Elsewhere, realization struck suddenly, chilling whispers revealing a hidden connection entangling greater threats than previously suspected. Evening light cast calmness, Dowd reflecting quietly, gratitude lingering despite turmoil shaping every passing moment. Questions pressed forward, seeking hidden truths, probing whether relief stemmed from deeper motives beyond simple tasks. Elnor's sharp demeanor revealed hints of restraint, concealed intensity softening briefly as her thoughts wandered inward. Suspicion lingered between them, Dowd's cautious response measured, unwilling to reveal too much without certainty. Tension escalated quickly as curiosity sharpened, Elnor demanding clarity, her presence pressing closer, leaving escape impossible. Dowd stood tense as suspicion rose, her sharp question cutting through the air, demanding hidden truths revealed. He faltered, mind racing wildly, sweat beading as fear twisted his thoughts into tangled knots of denial. Across the chamber, silence weighed heavily. Dowd's memory betrayed him, forcing hesitation under her piercing scrutiny. He clenched his fist tightly, frustration brewing, cursing internally at the unexpected turn that complicated his deception. Dowd finally confessed reluctantly, explaining the meeting occurred from necessity, circumstances leaving him cornered without another choice. Her gaze sharpened, demanding clarity, pressing Dowd with relentless suspicion about secrets hidden behind his silence. Dowd gripped the document tightly, voice steady but strained, insisting the matter concerned authority beyond their reach. She advanced slowly, measured steps echoing, her presence suffocating, as tension wrapped tightly around the quiet chamber. Dowd's resolve hardened under pressure. He reminded himself of promises made, vowing to protect truths with determination. Her final words struck firmly, warning of danger ahead, yet promising protection despite looming threats from within. Her eyes glowed faintly, a strange aura radiating power, pressing Dowd closer to decisions beyond hesitation. Confusion filled him as her authority rose sharply, her words reshaping their fragile connection into formal boundaries. The revelation echoed, cementing roles their bond shifted, setting stage for trials entwining duty and survival. He walked steadily, thoughts racing, weighing consequences of exposure while carefully masking intentions from curious observers. Feigning composure, Dowd insisted on trivial explanations, deflecting questions while guarding secrets threatening dangerous entanglements ahead. A cheerful student approached Dowd, offering treats while hinting at hidden motives beneath his smiling demeanor. Dowd glanced at his wristband, remembering the midterm survival challenge where careful strategy determined true success. Orders were passed swiftly. Dowd acknowledged them politely, masking intentions while preparing for far more dangerous tasks. His determination solidified. Dowd resolved to awaken Gregory's pavilion spirit, using gathered holy energy from faithful followers. Yet awakening the spirit risked chaos, for its unpredictable nature threatened unpredictable disasters upon the academy. Dark loomed, their presence signaling the dangerous trials Dowd risked by awakening forbidden ancient powers. He focused his energy, chanting firmly, summoning light as the artifact pulsed, demanding his unwavering resolve. A brilliant glow erupted, revealing unexpected results. Dowd's heart sank as uncertainty replaced his careful calculations. Instead of divine spirit, a strange gacha card appeared, yet before despair grew, a knightly figure emerged from radiant light, stirring shock and awe everywhere. Dowd's eyes widened, recognizing the spirit's overwhelming aura as reality settled heavily upon his shoulders. His presence grew clearer. Dowd struggled to recall memories, sensing familiarity tied deeply to past encounters. Confusion tightened around him, realization dawning slowly that destiny had summoned a guardian far beyond expectation. The summoned warrior revealed himself Galvan Grekanax, a guardian with ties to Elias, shocking Dowd completely. Meanwhile, distant destruction rumbled across the horizon. Amid the ruins, survivors scattered, urgently following orders to locate missing companions among crumbling wreckage. Recognition spread as devastation confirmed the site aligned with the known location of the Crimson disaster. A preserved photograph recorded their connection, a reminder of unity before duty demanded irreversible sacrifice. Among them stood a guardian remembered for unyielding courage, who gave everything to prevent total devastation. Through his final stand, his sacrifice marked history, transforming him into a remembered hero across generations. Memories of a fallen protector lingered strongly, his image etched deeply into her. Fragile tears welled as another memory surfaced, a fleeting smile once shared now shadowed by painful absence. Grief overwhelmed her entirely, sorrow erupting as the weight of unfulfilled promises pressed heavily upon her. The loss left scars that words could not erase, reminding her that sacrifice always bore consequences. Amid the ruins, determination ignited. She vowed to honor sacrifice by pursuing the same difficult path. Her resolve strengthened, vowing to eliminate the threats responsible for her suffering and lost family. Determination filled her eyes. Victory meant honor, and advancement promised recognition that could not be denied. The academy grounds became a place of harsh trials, shaping recruits into disciplined fighters without hesitation. She stood unwavering, confidence radiating as she prepared to embrace the warrior's destined path. Instructors observed carefully, emphasizing survival, discipline, and unity, warning failure would bring consequences harsher than defeat. Dowd carefully revealed the truth about Calvin, explaining survival was linked through bonds not yet broken. Confirmation followed, recognition settling as she realized family ties remained intact, despite years filled with tragedy. Together they reflected on growth, acknowledging hardships endured while recognizing how far resilience had carried them. The Academy's trials proved worthwhile, their determination solidifying as recognition came for enduring every demanding challenge. Though uncertainty lingered, strength prevailed. Acknowledgement of survival became foundation for embracing futures shaped by sacrifice. Discussions turned toward responsibility, Dowd listening intently as guidance emphasized caution during unpredictable upcoming missions. Acknowledgement followed with respectful gratitude, determination strengthening to apply lessons learned under growing external pressures. Dowd resolved firmly, his commitment unwavering, focused entirely on survival while ensuring no allies were lost. Attention shifted suddenly as a familiar presence called his name, drawing focus toward an unexpected encounter. Group formation surfaced quickly as the next priority, requiring alliances and trust to withstand future challenges. An unexpected proposal emerged, her intent clear, leaving Dowd momentarily stunned as possibilities expanded before him. Dowd stood before Ella, determined yet cautious, knowing this alliance could alter their uncertain fates. Ella observed him skeptically, recalling their strained history, yet curiosity lingered behind her wary expression. Dowd admitted his reliance, voicing the necessity of her strength, hoping vulnerability might earn reluctant cooperation. Nearby students mocked the request, certain Ella sought only opportunities to outshine him and prove superiority. Another classmate interjected smugly, questioning permission to borrow Ella, sensing rivalry while tensions heightened among companions. Chaos erupted suddenly, a sharp strike breaking composure, leaving one student collapsed while panic spread quickly. Dowd stood calm amidst the fallen, watching reactions closely, aware the skirmish revealed strengths and weaknesses alike. Ella smiled faintly, choosing to accept Dowd's proposal, realizing cooperation could sharpen skills and ensure survival. He questioned her choice, concerned about distancing from allies, but she trusted her abilities despite looming risks. Together they acknowledged the past, forging a tentative pact, realizing unity might shift their destinies forevermore. The nun steadied herself quietly, realizing their group's formation remained incomplete, another member still required. The academy's towering spire loomed, its bells marking hours, reminding students of fleeting peace before trials. Inside, whispers filled the chamber as mentors discussed irregularities, sensing unusual movements beneath ordinary appearances. Lucien grinned slyly, concealing suspicion, curious about Dowd's intentions, masking concern with deceptive charm and wit. Dowd resolved inwardly, knowing Lucien's growing influence endangered balance, determined not to let corruption strengthen unchecked. The scholar emphasized preparation, warning the assembly that untrained successors could destabilize fragile continental order. Attention shifted toward another candidate, presence marked by authority, reminding others of expectations carried upon them. The air felt tense, acknowledgement spreading that alliances and rivalries would shape outcomes beyond their control. Concerns grew regarding Lucien's influence, suspicions voiced carefully, as questions lingered about loyalty within imperial ranks. The council's statement concluded, acknowledging weight of their choice, revealing hesitation but firm resolve guiding their path. The strategist addressed the gathering, stressing careful consideration before making decisive moves in upcoming conflicts. Speculation arose regarding hidden motives, stirring unease as lingering doubts threatened fragile trust within the chamber. Eyes narrowed, suspicions deepened, and silence hung heavy, each participant measuring intentions behind cautious expressions. A sudden thought struck, realization forming that concealed truths could destabilize plans and shatter expected alliance. Resolve hardened, commitment voiced clearly, promising to protect fragile order while navigating perilous uncertainty awaiting them. Suspicion grew sharply, questions rising about whether divine authority truly aligned with their present struggle. A faint laugh resonated, unsettling the chamber. Speculation deepened regarding the goddess, doubts spreading whether divine intervention shaped events or complicated fragile stability. Despite looming uncertainty, confidence returned, assurances given that forthcoming alliances would strengthen their fractured position. Relief followed tense moments, exhaustion visible as lingering doubts remained, though temporary calm settled across discussion. Frustration built, the strategist condemned unfair orders, silently cursing authority for forcing impossible burdens forward. The monocle clattered against wood, frustration evident, marking a moment of rejection against manipulation's heavy weight. Reflection deepened, acknowledging unexpected proximity to the Sanctus, realizing the meeting carried heavier implications than expected. A solemn request echoed clearly, commanding Dowd to undertake dangerous responsibility involving vessels bound to darkness. Resentment stirred within, realization that such demands contradicted proclaimed ideals, leaving hypocrisy sharply exposed before him. Authority reflected calmly, admitting past actions always placed objectives above others, accepting ambition's role in shaping outcome. By the river, quiet moments unfolded, tasks forgotten briefly, her gaze sharpened suddenly, patience thinning, aware prolonged silence no longer suited pressing matters awaiting resolution. Water moved steadily, concealing footsteps approaching from distance, signaling interruption to solitude once held in place. Recognition formed instantly, certainty rising that the presence nearing carried significance impossible to disregard anymore. Dowd exhaled deeply, relieved his sparring felt smoother today, steady progress showing through each practiced movement. He considered tomorrow's training, uncertain whether to bring supplies, debating necessity of preparation beyond effort. An unexpected voice reminded him simply being present carried meaning, presence valued more than material offerings. Silence followed, expression tense, revealing unspoken concerns. Seated near flowing water, Dowd reflected quietly, strength and resolve tested against doubts threatening his focus. Harsh words echoed, reminding Dowd of burdens carried, forcing him to confront doubts surrounding fragile memories replayed vividly, exposing insecurities, as warnings painted a bleak path filled with isolation and hardship. Shaken, Dowd gasped for breath, heartbeat racing as anxiety surged, drowning rational thoughts beneath relentless pressure. Alone by the riverbank, he fought against despair, struggling to steady his resolve through overwhelming fear. Determination returned within his eyes, silent promise forming to defy despair and push forward despite everything. Tears streamed quietly, emotions heavy, leaving silence filled with unanswered tension and fragile uncertainty unresolved. Someone arrived cheerfully, carrying a small package, speaking casually, while unaware of the emotional weight present. Relief appeared suddenly, expression brightening. Yuria nervously adjusted her grip on the sword, determined to prove herself before Dodd's calm gaze. Dodd observed silently, masking concern behind composure as Yuria prepared to demonstrate her hastily learned technique. She stepped forward confidently, channeling energy through her foot before unleashing an unbalanced yet forceful strike. The attack sent shockwaves through the ground, scattering wooden targets and leaving dust swirling across the field. He lowered his glove, unimpressed but understanding, while Yuria pleaded desperately for another chance to improve. Dust exploded around Yuria as her failed strike sent waves through the ground. Forcing he back, shocked by the impact, he steadied himself, shouting in disbelief at the sheer force she released. Morning sunlight later painted the academy walls, as both resumed training, tension lingering between their exchanged glances. Silence hung heavy until Yuria's calm voice broke through. Her gaze fixed on the distant fortress ahead. A faint smile tugged at his lips, hiding unease, as she approached with renewed determination and grace. Yuria's calm expression hid amusement, as he recalled suggesting the unusual plan that now drew attention. Ilya's irritation flared, disgusted by the absurdity of their disguise and questioning their sense of dignity. He tried diffusing tension, awkwardly defending himself while noticing Zion's uneasy reaction beside the fiery-haired woman. Protective instincts surged within Zion, declaring firmly that she must never stay too close to he again. Accepting the compromise, she reluctantly nodded, deciding to continue the mission while keeping her guard raised. She responded firmly to the command, eyes steady as she prepared to follow the group's lead. Curiosity broke through tension when someone asked about her specialty, catching her completely off guard mid-step, flustered by the question. She stumbled forward, shouting in embarrassment while trying to defend her dignity. Dust scattered as she hit the ground, prompting concerned glances and a sigh of relief from Talion. Beneath the shade of the trees, exhaustion settled in as the team regrouped, assessing everyone's condition carefully. Talion explained their next task, outlining the training schedule while reminding everyone to remain cautious and alert. Frustration spread among the recruits as complaints rose, questioning why they were always sent to danger. Calm reasoning followed from Talion, emphasizing that teamwork and field instincts mattered more than comfort or safety. Nearby chatter quieted as his logic sank in, prompting reluctant nods from those sitting in the shade. Yuria examined a fallen comrade, sighing in disbelief at his exhaustion, wondering why resilience was so rare. Yuria's foot pressed against the fallen enemy, her gaze sharp while sensing an ominous surge of energy. Shadows pulsed beneath her, spreading fast as she realized something far darker was buried within the soil. Panic flickered in He's eyes. Nothing in his knowledge explained power of such unstable force. A sudden eruption blinded everyone, golden light colliding violently with darkness, twisting the air in chaos. Both stood frozen amid the explosion, hearts racing as they faced the unknown power awakening before them. Yuria clenched her fists, gathering energy through her feet before launching forward, with focused determination and speed. Dust burst beneath her steps as she charged, forcing he to track her rapid movement closely. From the distance, a scout shouted her location, realizing too late that her strength exceeded normal trainees. Calm and calculating, the silver-haired woman approached, recognizing Yuria's potential and deciding to test her directly. A smirk crossed Yuria's face, confident yet cautious, as her opponent promised a lesson worth remembering today. She steadied her breathing, viewing the duel as a true battlefield where hesitation could mean defeat. Her opponent, Elnor, stood firm and unflinching, daring her to strike without holding anything back. A mocking tone followed as Elnor questioned she's hesitation, testing her will rather than her strength. Sweat traced Yuria's temple as she gripped the hilt tighter, torn between instinct and restraint. Cold eyes narrowed. Elnor declared most Imperials lacked resolve, mistaking hesitation for weakness rather than control. She's steps faltered, her resolve cracking as guilt surfaced from memories of those she once failed. Fear gripped her chest. Words caught between pride and regret, while Elnor's eyes burned with demonic energy. Darkness erupted from Elnor's body, crimson waves twisting the air as power devoured her human composure. Shock froze she in place, instinct screaming to run as the ground pulsed under spreading corruption. Trembling, she realized this wasn't training anymore. Something ancient had awakened, and it was calling her name. She's thoughts echoed her father's lessons as energy swelled within her, shaking the corrupted ground violently. Harnessing that surge, she launched forward with explosive force, blade gleaming as Elnor watched her unstoppable advance. Dodd gasped as a bright blue aura surrounded his body, energy twisting uncontrollably around him. Across the field, Elnor walked calmly, her crimson eyes focused as the magic intensified. Near her voice echoed with authority. Force teleportation. The ground trembled as the spell dragged he toward her presence. Panic filled his face. His body pulled forward violently, while Elnor lifted her hand to halt him. Air rippled between them. His breath hitched as Elnor's sharp gaze met his mid-teleportation shock. Faint traces of energy faded as Elnor stood alone, observing the lingering distortion from her spell. A mission record materialized, confirming her success in manipulating the force teleportation through calculated precision and timing. Meanwhile, he reappeared violently inside another dimension, his body spinning uncontrollably before crashing onto a polished surface. Dust scattered around him as he steadied himself, realizing he'd been transported far from the battlefield. Frustration replaced confusion while he analyzed his surroundings, already planning his next move to counter Elnor's interference. Beyond simple combat ability or strength, his energy pattern seemed unstable yet deliberate, leaving her uncertain about his true power and intentions. Across the hall, he recovered swiftly, mind racing to understand what triggered his sudden violent reaction. Observers whispered among themselves, noticing his rapid composure return despite exhaustion and minor injuries from teleportation impact. A faint pulse of crimson aura emerged nearby. Rirua Garda's curiosity had unexpectedly centered on chaos. Erupted across the field as sudden explosions threw several fighters into the air without warning. He sprinted through the smoke, realizing his actions had unexpectedly drawn attention from multiple combatants nearby. Flames reflected in Elia's eyes as she turned, confused by his strange muttering during the fight. Her allies struggled to approach, injured by stray attacks, while he countered another assault with swift precision. Despite the confusion, Elia called out desperately, unaware his erratic behavior stemmed from another's hidden manipulation. Explosions echoed through the arena as he struggled to restrain Yuria's uncontrollable burst of aggression. Amid the chaos, Yuria lunged fiercely, forcing Dodd to maintain distance while countering her rapid attacks. Elia's supporters mistook the fight, believing he was harming her, intensifying confusion across the training grounds. Energy waves collided violently, sending dust spiraling as she shouted in panic, unable to control the situation. A massive creature suddenly emerged behind her, drawing everyone's attention as the real threat finally appeared. From atop the creature, a confident student declared admiration for Shi's power and captivating presence. Shock rippled through he as confusion spread, unsure whether to laugh or recoil from the bold confession. Raising his hand dramatically, the admirer vowed to rescue Shi from what he believed a corrupt captor. His overzealous proposal to celebrate victory at Twilight's Eye only deepened Shi's visible discomfort and irritation. Silence lingered before she corrected him sharply, clarifying his innocence while doubting the stranger's ridiculous assumptions. Shi's sudden realization froze her in place, eyes widening as tension built across the clearing. Her opponent hesitated mid-sentence, startled by her reaction, unsure whether to retreat or press his point. From the sidelines, he calmly analyzed the converging forces between knight, mage, and divine students surrounding them. Energy pulsed through his gauntlet, a calculated grin forming as he recognized the opportunity for growth. Elsewhere, Yuria lay back lazily, unfazed by chaos, calling he with mild irritation to stand again. He activated his artifact, requesting aid from his hidden ally as battle chaos intensified nearby. Lazily stretching, Yuria tilted her head, sensing the disturbance, yet showing little urgency to intervene. Elsewhere, students rallied together, shouting determination, while charging recklessly toward the mounting magical threat ahead. Energy readings spiked violently, prompting the system to classify the situation as a grade emergency. He glanced toward Yuria, exasperated by her indifference, as she dismissed it all as mere sparring. She clashed fiercely against her opponent, dodging the creature's heavy swings with precise, desperate movements. Panic surged through her allies as the battle escalated, prompting his distant ally to intervene instantly. Shock hit he when he heard she was attacked, his instincts flaring before thoughts could form. Power erupted from him uncontrollably, activating life or death and linking his strength with hers in response. Blinding light enveloped both fighters, synchronizing energy as she's body moved flawlessly under the shared ability's influence. She's frustration exploded as she launched forward, energy surging through her weapon with overwhelming intensity. Her opponent flinched, realizing too late the danger of provoking her unrestrained fury mid-combat. Dust and debris scattered, while the ground split apart beneath their clash, echoing through the open field. With perfect precision, she strike descended, targeting the creature's weak point despite the risk of recoil. Nearby spectators watched in stunned silence, awed by her determination and the raw strength she unleashed. He smirked lightly after witnessing she's overwhelming display, realizing her potential exceeded his earlier expectations. Rubble settled around her stance as she steadied her grip, confused yet proud of her newfound strength. Dodd activated his imaginary world, a skill that twisted reality, shocking everyone around with its sudden force. Ilya and Yuria gasped as their connection with he deepened, realizing their lives were now linked. Dust erupted while Yuria lunged forward, her blade slicing through debris to protect he from the collapsing ground. Light shimmered across she's sword, her stand steady despite the weight of their shared power surging uncontrollably. Watching her, he muttered, impressed by her resolve, though the skill drained his strength dangerously fast. Energy flickered around. She, as his spell weakened, her breath steady, despite the strain pulling harder. Determination flashed in her eyes. Protecting him mattered more than conserving strength for herself. Chains lashed out from ambushers' weapons, forcing Ilya to intercept with quick movements and precise counterattacks. With one swift arc, her blade sliced through opponents, sending armored men flying across shattered ground. Dust settled quietly while Ilya exhaled, whispering apology to fallen foes before declaring their mission accomplished. She steadied her stance, eyes blazing with resolve as she refused to retreat any further. Words escaped with conviction, calling out the cruelty of those blind to others' pain and struggle. A surge of energy erupted, her sword glowed fiercely while she unleashed her ultimate skill, Guardian Burst. The explosion swept enemies aside like a storm, scattering them through swirling winds and trembling earth below. Amid settling dust, he shielded his eyes, astonished by her strength, yet amused by her recklessness. Shock washed over she as her attack's aftermath revealed unexpected power radiating from he's position. Confusion replaced tension. Wind calmed while she caught her breath, realizing no one was severely injured. Across the clearing, he adjusted his gloves, glancing at her progress with faintly approving silence. Amusement flickered in his tone as he downplayed concern, masking relief that their teamwork actually worked. Another wave of energy burst nearby. She sighed, preparing herself again as chaos threatened to restart. Warm sunlight brushed she's face as she smiled, realizing teamwork with he felt unexpectedly rewarding. A glint of light caught her attention, another enemy's necklace drop, marking their growing victories. Ilya landed beside fallen opponents, satisfied with their progress and encouraging others to keep their pace steady. Confidence filled their ranks, though she sensed lingering competition as whispers about first place spread quickly. AMAP appeared among them, revealing second place's position a challenge too tempting to ignore. Sweat rolled down Zeke's face as he boasted confidently, determined to close the gap soon. Doubt spread through the group when Sister Marin questioned the map's accuracy, her brows narrowing suspiciously. Realization struck second place wasn't a team at all, but a single competitor dominating effortlessly. Shock rippled among them as Leto recalled a name whispered with both fear and respect: Fainal Lipek. Flames danced around a red-haired girl standing alone, her crimson eyes glinting with quiet, unsettling menace. Zeke leaned closer to the map, disbelief twisting his face as Marin whispered the staggering number softly. Gasps followed her words, 111 tokens, an achievement that shattered everyone's expectations instantly. Far away, he and she advanced calmly, a faint glow signaling his newly acquired defensive trait. Their steps echoed toward a towering cliffside temple, the exam's final objective looming in silent challenge. She rolled her eyes at his dry question, masking concern behind sarcasm as tension quietly returned. Footsteps echoed through the cavern as he led his team deeper, tension thickening with each stride. Uncertainty clouded, Shi's voice unease crept in as they sensed power far beyond ordinary exam levels. Ilya's expression hardened, instincts screaming danger, while an eerie crimson glow illuminated the tunnel's shifting air. Silence broke when a familiar figure emerged. Bound in energy, her presence radiating both pain and wrath. Horror struck he as he recognized her. The trial had twisted Sister Marin into the Bot King. A divine system warning appeared midair, naming she as the designated protector against the rampaging curse. Without hesitation, she advanced, steadying her breath as sacred energy pulsed violently throughout the Crimson Chamber. Ilya analyzed the aura's pattern, realizing the possessed nun was channeling divine power beyond human endurance. His mind raced. The curse combined teleportation with destruction, something even the exam structure couldn't safely contain. Sword in hand, she faced Marin's twisted form, determined to save her, no matter the divine resistance. Kind Garrison, the Holy Kingdom's high battle priest, appeared suddenly, his blade raised to enforce divine order. Ilya raised her sword steadily, eyes sharp, determination firm, despite the chaos surrounding her. Dodd stepped forward protectively, blocking her view, warning others not to interfere with the Saintess's will. The Saintess, restrained by crimson bindings, trembled as a faint power shimmered beneath her pale skin. From the shadows, Serena watched silently, torn between fear and curiosity as tension filled the air. Elnor's resolve hardened. She faced the Saintess directly, demanding truth hidden behind her trembling denial. Eyes widened in shock as Elia sensed the surge of hostile energy flooding through the air. Sword gripped tight, her stance firmed, while Dodd stood nearby, assessing the unfolding chaos cautiously. Voice steady despite tension, she declared her intent to protect, not to challenge divine authority's command. His expression softened slightly, curiosity mixing with disbelief as he questioned her desperate justification. From the shadows, Lucien emerged calmly, remarking that fate had reunited them under grim circumstances once again. Memories of the past surfaced as Lucien recalled his ties with one of the Holy Empire's pillars. The Empire stood tall, a blinding symbol of faith and order masking secrets beneath divine grandeur. Beside him once stood Saintess Lucien, pure and untouchable, her devotion admired yet never questioned. Hidden within that sanctity, however, lay the shadowed truth, the Grey, Horn Sister's existence bound by a cursed fate. Realization struck cold. Every righteous act was part of manipulation crafted to push Lucien toward despair. He listened quietly as the knight reported Uria's arrival and her decision to arm herself. Thoughts raced behind his calm expression, realizing the Holy Empire's agents were moving faster than expected. Elnor's swift appearance with summoned beasts confirmed his suspicion something powerful was drawing enemies toward them. Recent incidents, from demonic attacks to strange awakenings, all pointed toward orchestrated interference from unseen hands. As Uria's corrupted aura surged violently, he clenched his fists, fearing the Empire had already discovered her. A shattered helm hit the ground as he decided to act, his calm finally breaking. Confusion spread when Elia questioned the gesture, unsure what the discarded armor piece truly symbolized. Realization dawned on Elnor's furious face. It was a formal duel request, a challenge born of defiance. He stepped forward, voice composed yet resolute, declaring the matter would be settled between them alone. Commanding Elia to escort the Saintess away, he prepared to face the Holy Empire's knight directly. The knight warned that their standoff could escalate into a grave international dispute between kingdoms and faiths. His calm voice carried weight as he promised to expose the Saintess's mistreatment if provoked. Curiosity flickered when he asked about the knight's rank, testing the arrogance beneath his composure. Lucian's title as High Priest barred direct combat, yet his drawn sword betrayed hidden intent. He smirked faintly, questioning whether such caution was necessary against someone with no noble status. Strategy filled his mind. To end this standoff, he needed a single decisive strike. His opponent smirked confidently, boasting readiness as both swords glimmered under the eerie battlefield light. Arrogance colored the knight's tone as he declared a lesson must be taught through pain. Muscles tensed, timing perfected. He waited for the slightest opening before unleashing his hidden counterattack. A sharp motion followed his command. The knight screamed as his precise strike shattered his defense. Power surged violently as his skill triggered. Perfect counter activated, turning defense into unstoppable retaliation. Shock filled the knight's eyes while the clash released blinding energy that split the ground apart. Elnor and Serena watched anxiously, struggling to grasp his calm amidst the chaos he'd unleashed. Dust settled. His steady tone reminded his opponent that the duel had been properly initiated. Producing a sealed letter, he revealed permission from the Tristan family, ensuring his actions remained justified. Professor Amelia crossed her arms, unimpressed, telling she disapproved of his reckless duel decision. Her sharp tone echoed through the hall, warning that such boldness would drag higher powers' attention. He stood firm, explaining his choice had meaning, every action carefully calculated, despite appearing impulsive. Serena, recalling the chaos, realized his plan had predicted even the Empire's intervention from the start. Elnor's expression softened slightly, anger giving way to understanding that his foresight had saved them all. A memory resurfaced, his mentor's gentle reminder to build bonds rather than chase constant danger alone. That advice echoed faintly, though his path had already drawn him into countless unpredictable confrontations. Reports of his duel quickly spread, prompting whispers that the Holy Empire now took direct notice. Professor Amelia frowned deeply, aware even the Holy Emperor's attention might soon fall upon him. Within containment tubes, scientist Lucien and another figure slept silently, proof of the Empire's ruthless ambition. Late at night, a golden rose glows faintly atop an ornate table, lit by the soft lamplight that fills the elegant room. Silence looms as the moment waits to be broken. A blonde-haired woman sits alone, exhaling a long stream of smoke. Draped in white and poised on the edge of a grand balcony, her stillness masks tension brewing beneath. Eyes half-lidded, she responds calmly to a knock on the door. As she presses the cigarette into the ashtray, her composed voice allows the visitor to enter. A nervous black-haired girl enters, startled and hesitant. Her posture tightens when the blonde woman turns to face her, no words needed to stir unease. Recognizing her visitor, the woman steps forward with authority. The girl, Yuria, looks both relieved and alarmed, unsure whether to speak or flee. With heavy footsteps, the blonde woman approaches. Her gaze sharpens as she draws closer, while Yuria recoils instinctively, troubled by the tension. Fear takes over Yuria. She stumbles backward, urging her sister not to approach. The energy in the room shifts violently. The curse activates a deadly spell, triggered by proximity. The blonde woman recognizes it immediately and reacts. Chains burst forth, entangling her. Despite the pain, she endures it. Her final thought in the moment, a silent acknowledgement that they are twins. The scene shifts to a coliseum, spectators filling the stands. An official voice recites the rules of a high-stakes duel, emphasizing its informality but deadly risk. They explain that any serious injury will end the match, otherwise it continues until one side forfeits. Everyone watches, knowing this is no ordinary event. In the background, it's revealed that Lucien is the key to delaying Yuria's awakening, a fragile balance between survival and destruction. A blue-haired strategist stands firmly, knowing the duel must proceed. It is the only way to buy time and keep Yuria from losing herself. The Holy Empire's constant surveillance must be broken. The only chance lies in what happens next. Lucian appears, determined. For this moment, he must leave an undeniable mark, one powerful enough that even the highest authority will be forced to notice. The duel arena fills with tension as the challenger readies his stance. The knight opposite him draws his blade without hesitation, signaling that there is no room left for apologies. With composed arrogance, the knight warns that surrender would prevent unnecessary injuries. Behind him, observers anticipate a swift end. Confidence thickens the air. Lord Campbell steps forward, unfazed. Observers whisper doubt, but his calm response silences the crowd. His grip on the sword tightens, he will not back down. The knight begins to realize something is off. His expression hardens as he recalls warnings from others about his opponent's mysterious ability. A memory resurfaces. A noble voice warns not to attack with killing intent. The harder one presses Campbell, the stronger he becomes. A dangerous skill with a simple trigger. Those observing whisper about the unfairness of such a trait. One man recalls facing a similar ability once before and being overpowered by his own aggression. Despite knowing the risk, the knight chooses to push forward. Suppressing lethal intent, he prepares his attack more carefully, surrounded by radiant power. Aura swirls around him. He activates a high-level blessing to amplify his control, hoping to suppress the unpredictable effects of Campbell's ability. Campbell remains still. His back faces the enemy, but his presence exudes quiet pressure. The knight's focus narrows as the moment to strike arrives. The knight rushes forward, sword raised with precision. Campbell prepares internally, acknowledging the threat approaching with full force. Using his system interface, Campbell triggers guidance. Instantly, information flows to him, a tactical edge in the fight. A massive shockwave erupts on contact. The ground cracks, the knight's strike meets resistance. Campbell does not falter. The air vibrates as both energies clash. The knight's sword trembles, Campbell's eyes flash. He's activating another power. A hidden force awakens inside him. The mark of the fallen responds, elevating his presence on the battlefield. The knight strikes again. Campbell counters with unmatched precision, meeting the attack head on as both warriors become the center of the arena's fury. Lord Campbell crashes down with explosive force, shattering the ground beneath his opponent. Debris scatters across the arena from the sudden impact. A vertical shockwave erupts into the sky, illuminating the battlefield. The spectators are stunned, frozen by the magnitude of power displayed before them. Among the watchers, one strategist gasps in disbelief, while a mysterious knight smiles calmly, as if everything is unfolding exactly as he predicted. Rocks shattered from above, as Dodd plunged into the battlefield, activating his skill just before impact. Guidance initiated a combat sequence beyond normal reaction speed, locking him into the optimal route. His body accelerated downward, with fierce momentum. Blood trickled from his brow as his expression sharpened. Beneath the surface, dormant powers stirred in response to the crisis. The system announced available skills, Mighty Cry and Rage. A surge of dark aura ignited from the symbol embedded in his chest. Below, the arena trembled as his opponent awakened their own mark. The mark of the Fallens. Spectators looked on in horror as demonic energy exploded from the stage. The force created a rupture of blue light in the sky, expanding outward in violent pulses. Elnor, now fully possessed by the mark, floated mid-air, her body surrounded by tendrils of darkness. Her transformation shifted the balance entirely. Dodd clutched his chest, the power racking his body. Her overwhelming presence halted all movement in the arena. His resistance weakened but hadn't broken. Dodd drew his blade and advanced cautiously. He felt something foreign, an unnatural sensation echoing from her aura. Her descent from the sky was deliberate. Their swords clashed mid-air. Elnor attacked without hesitation. Pressing downward with twisted glee, Dodd blocked but was forced back. Elnor taunted him to fight and fall. The energy around her danced erratically, threatening to crush his will as much as his body. She dove headfirst with no restraint, black and pink energy spiking around her limbs. Her expression twisted with intensity. Dodd barely reacted in time, blocking a strike that exploded on contact. Shockwaves rippled across the battlefield. For a brief second, something changed. Dodd's stance held firmer than before, his instincts sharpened. Even the veteran knight watching took notice. Dodd rose steadily. He realized he didn't need to win, only survive. His focus shifted. He sidestepped the next blow, energy bursting from his body. Red aura wrapped around him, deflecting her rage. With a counterattack, Dodd launched the knight across the arena, shocking all. The power he unleashed was no longer passive. It had awakened. The knight crashed into the arena floor, his body flung like a ragdoll. The spectators fell silent, their eyes fixed on the lone standing figure. Dodd stood calmly, eyes shut, exhaling as if the tension had passed. The burst of golden energy behind him illuminated the moment. He acknowledged the miscalculation aloud. While his attention had wavered, the enemy had underestimated him. The arena's standards, it seemed, had changed more than expected. Dodd approached the altar, addressing the robed figure seated above. He asked for the right to speak as the victor. Permission was granted. He requested protection for the scientist from those who would exploit her presence. The crowd murmured in confusion as he referenced unseen threats. The chancellor protested loudly, demanding answers. How could a mere student disrupt protocol? His complaint was dismissed with a sharp rebuke from Dodd. Suddenly, Hatton Wu Jewel, chief of the Blue Dragon tribe, laughed as he stepped forward, mocking the hypocrisy of the Holy Empire. He pointed out the absurdity of a holy nation using a knight against a student and still harassing the saints. He called them international perverts. Dodd stood silent as the audience erupted. Hatton's words cut deep. Even the villain faction observed him now with respect, acknowledging Dodd's boldness. Unfazed, Dodd questioned the Holy Empire's threats. If they were truly upset, they were free to challenge him directly in battle. The robed figure smiled, admitting the duel held no stakes, but accepted the result nonetheless. Chancellor Atalante panicked, realizing what had just occurred. The priest calmly praised Dodd's cunning. He recognized not just the student's talent, but his dangerous potential as a political disruptor. The bishop screamed, radiant energy overwhelming him. His pride cracked under the pressure of defeat. The robed figure slowly turned and walked away, refusing to respond. The Holy Empire, once proud, now retreated in silence. Dodd watched him go, eyes fixed on the symbol of authority vanishing into the distance. Victory was his, but it had only stirred more enemies. As the Holy Empire retreated, a command was issued from the high terrace to monitor Dodd Campbell's movements at Elefante. Saras, a sharp agent with beast-like traits, acknowledged the order without hesitation, already preparing for deployment. Watching from a distance, a nobleman sensed Dodd's rising influence, comparing him to someone from his past. Dodd stood quietly beneath the sunlight, confirming the opponent had vanished. The silence marked the end of a fierce match, his breathing steady but cautious. The official cleared his throat and declared the result: Dodd Campbell had won. Despite fatigue, Dodd remained calm and composed. Spectators responded. A woman with blue hair acknowledged his skill, while a large warrior grinned, calling him a promising fighter. A necklace was tossed to him as a reward. Dodd caught the necklace, surprised by its value. It was an uncommon item with effects that improved stamina and training. The warrior invited Dodd to visit the furnace of battle and hinted at interest in Dodd's unusual strength. As the warrior left, Dodd composed himself. The brief encounter ended with him preparing to leave the arena. A narrator's thought revealed this event originally occurred in Chapter 3 of the novel. Not now. Dodd had changed the flow. The blue-haired woman questioned if he had used a vessel's power again. Her suspicion hinted at deeper interest. Dodd admitted luck was involved. She warned things would soon grow more unstable and advised him to be ready. At night, Dodd quietly affirmed his progress. Morning came with confirmation he completed a main quest. He received rare items, Seed of Evil, and Echo of Sanctification. He now had 4 seeds. These were needed for unique skills. Special combinations would lead to exclusive upgrades. Dodd revealed one such result: the Eye of Inspection, which shows someone's stats daily. He purchased it, confident it couldn't be tampered with, making it extremely useful, ready to try it. He focused. This tool could shift future encounters in his favor. Dodd narrowed his focus, dismissing irrelevant individuals as he scanned the area. Trisha and the professor held no value to his current objective. His gaze shifted mid-thought as a sudden movement caught his attention. A girl with silver hair darted across the field with unnatural speed. Without hesitation, he recognized her. Elnor Tristan. She was the perfect candidate. Her overwhelming presence made the bystanders scatter in fear. Dodd prioritized obtaining data on her. Elnor and Elia were central to the scenario, far more significant than anyone else. Activating the Eye of Inspection, Dodd examined her stats. Each attribute ranked at the highest tier: strength, agility, endurance. The analysis revealed she was a vessel of the Grey Demon, with 80% fusion rate and minimal corruption. Her body held terrifying potential. The fusion percentage was already dangerously high. He suspected the Riverback incident caused the spike. Thankfully, her corruption remained low. Otherwise, she would have already transformed into something beyond control. Suddenly, she turned and questioned his presence. Her instincts alerted her. He failed to hide his reaction. Dodd clumsily confessed he had information for her. Elnor reminded him that the request was his task, not hers. Despite scolding him for relying on her, she acknowledged his effort and encouraged him. Dot apologized. She noted her title as student council president didn't exempt her from burdens. Yet she had managed the task. She shifted topics, noting the Holy Empire's envoy expansion, something that hadn't occurred before. Dodd denied involvement. She handed him a report detailed records of the target's midterm activities. He was stunned. That level of information was something he originally had to discover himself. Dodd, filled with energy, embraced Elnor in a sudden burst of excitement. He praised her and promised to return the favor. His enthusiasm was genuine. Elnor's report had given him the breakthrough he needed. The realization struck him that the target was likely at the clock tower now. Without wasting another moment, Dodd dashed away, leaving Elnor stunned and speechless. Breathless from sprinting, Dodd rushed through the academy halls. He had little time and knew his window was short. Recalling the prophet's involvement, he pieced together that the target now spent time at the clock tower until evening. Stopping to catch his breath, Dodd finally reached the tower. Awaiting him was a regal figure boy, King Valkasis, who calmly commented on Dodd's lack of physical training. Valkasis directly addressed him by name. Dodd was stunned that he was recognized so quickly. Still panting, Dodd asked how Valkasis knew him. The answer came casually: he was warned. From atop the tower, Valkasis revealed the source. The prophet had spoken of Dodd in advance, heightening the tension. Dodd processed the revelation. The prophet's interference wasn't part of the original story. Valkasis admitted he had been waiting every day, knowing they'd eventually meet. Despite being enemies, he respected the meeting. He repeated what the prophet said, that Dodd would become his greatest obstacle in this world. Valkasis asked Dodd whether he intended to oppose him. Shadows formed around him, and the atmosphere turned ominous. Dodd stood frozen. The clarity of Valkasis's knowledge was unsettling. Realization dawned: Valkasis had been receiving guidance the same way Dodd had. They were using the same method. Shadowy beasts with glowing red eyes emerged behind the blonde knight, surrounding him with an ominous presence. He stood calmly, unbothered by their threat. The knight faced Dodd directly and asked if he planned to interfere. His voice was steady, commanding attention without raising tension. Dodd remained silent, processing the confrontation. The atmosphere shifted as the stakes became clearer between them. The knight acknowledged Dodd's knowledge of his identity. He accused Dodd of approaching intentionally, armed with information. Dodd confirmed he understood the situation and believed the knight held no direct malice, despite a violent plan involving the academy. With precision, the knight revealed the attack would happen in 3 days. He hinted that a prophet demanded the timing be exact. Elsewhere, a masked woman lingered in the shadows. Her presence remained a mystery, suggesting larger movements behind the scene. The knight admitted Dodd's identity was still unknown. He warned that Dodd might one day oppose powerful enlightened enemies. He referenced Valkasis, a tyrant who absorbed lives through alchemy, and reminded Dodd they were still enemies. As evening fell, Dodd made clear he wasn't here to ruin plans. He only wanted the chance to face the knight fairly. Dodd insisted that battles should be balanced. The knight listened, recognizing the meaning behind the meeting. He concluded Dodd came to confirm whether he would fight with honor or deceit. Dodd agreed, but added he had another purpose. He activated his skill to reveal hidden truths. He focused on the knight. A glow revealed numerous alchemic spells etched across the knight's body. The truth was clear: each spell was tied to a life. Dodd now understood the cost of the power he faced. A monstrous figure with a red eye appeared behind Valkasis, revealing the true nature of his body. The entity pulsed with dark energy, unsettling in form and intent. Valkasis calmly stated the spell wasn't meant for battle. He acknowledged the power but emphasized restraint, declaring his own fairness in revealing it. Dodd, standing high above, replied with understanding. He claimed his own actions were fair as well, wanting to judge Valkasis's strength and conviction directly. Valkasis spoke without offense, saying he didn't see Dodd as a threat. Calmly, he extended a fist, initiating a wager based on the coming battle. Dodd accepted the reality of Valkasis's plan: the massacre of the academy in 3 days. Though unable to stop the plan with words, he made his stance clear. With unwavering resolve, Dodd declared he would use all his strength to stop him. The challenge had become personal. Valkasis questioned Dodd's resolve. even after knowing the overwhelming power sealed in his body. Dodd answered with conviction. He promised to save Valkasus and his kingdom. Despite the danger, the moment became one of unspoken respect. As Valkasus turned and walked away, he warned that if Dodd lost, he would become just another number, 2,134,424, another sacrifice. Valkasus disappeared into the night, leaving Dodd stunned. The confrontation ended, but the consequences lingered. Dodd watched the shadow vanish. The threat still loomed. He feared what might happen if he failed. He shook off the doubt, reminding himself that thinking of loss meant certain defeat. He had to believe in his chances. Outside, the night was calm. A familiar voice called to Dodd, snapping him out of his thoughts. The mission wasn't over. Yuria appeared from the balcony, asking if he was ready. Her presence grounded him, reminding him he wasn't alone. She smiled and asked about the clothes she'd prepared. The weight of battle still loomed, but for now, a moment of humanity remained. The younger girl hesitated, blushing as she responded to her sister. Though she answered affirmatively, her discomfort showed in her expression. She sat on the bed, nervously tugging at the unfamiliar nightgown. It was something she had never worn before, and the feeling unsettled her. Yuria casually offered her full wardrobe for use. The girl hesitated, then smiled slightly at the gesture, touched by the sincerity of her sister's words. Yuria lit a cigarette, telling her to feel at ease. Her demeanor was calm, masking a deeper reflection that lingered behind her eyes. She considered the girl's state. Despite the curse she had endured, she still seemed emotionally untouched. Yuria wondered who was more broken between them. The girl, coughing slightly, adjusted the choker around her neck. Yuria turned, surprised, questioning her actions with sharp curiosity. The girl explained the choker's origin. It was a gift from Dodd, a symbol of their bond. She hoped it held meaning. She clarified she wore it to see if it suited her. She wasn't comparing it to Yuria's gifts, but believed Dodd wouldn't acknowledge her without it. Her eyes revealed sincerity, unaware of how her words stirred something in Yuria, who remained composed but unreadable. The girl tried to clarify, fearing her intentions were misunderstood. Her expression remained earnest. Yuria inhaled slowly, her tone shifted as tension built behind her silence, her voice low and steady. With eyes cold and voice sharp, Yuria asked where the demonic bastard was, her restraint clearly gone.